group both teams that have threats in the passing game. So, again, if you came here expecting to see the type of St. Clair Bethel games you've seen maybe 2-3 years ago, you might be surprised. There might be fireworks tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the trend in all of high school football. You're seeing a lot more wide receivers on the field, spreading them out, a lot of RPO, shotgun stuff. But believe it or not, the Hawks this year they've relied a little more heavily on the run. They're about 60-40 run to pass. And, again, I mean, that just tells you expect a big dose of Denison tonight. And,
Upper St. Clair has won the
opening
look
toss
for their and deferred to the second half.
In the passing
Bethel
game,
Park will receive.
Where they can get him. Will Sabatis is really the deep threat down the field. He's about 20 yards average per catch. But they can – Novogenic has just as many catches. And watch Denison out of the backfield, too. He's also got 19 catches. And that's not a guy you want to be one-on-one with in the flat at 6'2", 200 pounds.
So the captains are out on the field for the Panthers. It looks like we had Dante Corey, number 7, number 8, Jacobo Echeverria, number 48, Colin Green, and big number 70, Mason Geyer. And Evan Devine was out there for the Blackhawks, Trey Johnson, Charlie Simmons, and big number 77, Santino Lamolinar. So, a lot of seniors, which is what you would expect in 5A football. And, I am really looking forward to this one tonight. Looks like the Panthers have won the toss and elected to defer. We're going to see one of the hidden weapons in the football game right away for the Panthers. That is Jacobo Echeverria, who I believe, has 2 non-touchbacks on all his kickoffs this year. And when you're scoring that much, they've had a lot of different kickoffs. So a huge weapon in terms of field position.
Yeah, I mean, well, not only that, he in a tight game like this where there's going to be – it's going to be fought, in the trenches a little more. It's nice to have a guy that can put a 45-yard field goal up, no problem, and you can trust to do that.
And you can trust him, believe me.
That's actually one area where the Hawks have improved this year. They kind of struggled. They didn't really have the guys, and this year they've got a soccer player they brought over who's done a really nice job with kickoffs and field goals.
So we're going to put it in play here at Panther Stadium. Jacobo Echeverria is going to get another touchback. The Panthers in their home blacks going left to right on your screen. The Bethel Park Blackhawks in their road whites going from right to left. Bethel will start with the football first here. And this is every bit as exciting as I thought it would be. You can tell the atmosphere. It is a very, very passionate, two really strong student sections so far. Good crowd. Great night for football temperature-wise. And this is Evan Devine, number 2, and David Dennison, who we talked about in the pregame, number 9, in the backfield behind. And we already have some sort of motion. And, Pat, I'm guessing that is not what you want to see if you're a Hawk fan.
Definitely not. I hate to say that's typical Hawks, but, as a USC alum who's watched this rivalry for all these years, that's the one thing they can't have tonight. They've got to execute clean and give themselves an opportunity to be in good field position.
Yeah, we talked about stay on schedule. That hurts you already. This is Dennison. Nice little move, but that is Johnny Banbury, the big middle linebacker, number 6, stepping up and filling the hole very strongly for maybe a gain of 3.
Yeah, what I liked about that one there, and I'm sure Coach Junko got it in their heads early this week. We can't bring this guy down. We can't have one tackle right now. We need players getting to the ball. We need 3 or 4 hats on them.
So they're going to go kind of tempo here.
Okay.
Devine is back. He's looking for the out route. Nice coverage there by Bryce Jones. He tugged a little bit on the back of the jersey, but no call, maybe because he was kind of tight on him. But you're right, there was some hands there, weren't there?
Yeah, he might have gotten away with one, maybe a little bit, but he was in tight coverage and. Ball was on time. There really just wasn't any place to put it.
We're going to set the starting lineups here. On offense, we've talked about Dennison and Devine for the Blackhawks. The receivers, we talked about Novoshevic, number 0. He's out there. Will Sabatos is also out there, number 12. And it looks like number 3, Charles Simmons. This is Dennison. He's going wide. Oh, that's a great job by Nevin Sheegan filling the hole. That is not going to even be close to the first down, and Bethel's going to have to punt.
That's a great play. That's, not an easy tackle to make in open field on Dennison, and he chopped him.
So the Panther linebackers are mostly new other than Banbury. They've really done a nice job this year. Been very impressed. And other than the first half against South Fayette, I think their tackling's been great so far this year.
Yeah, well, if last play was any indication, then.
So this is Vogel punting for Bethel Park. This is going to be low. The Panthers are going to have to get out of the way. Boy, that is not a good punt. It's going to go out of bounds at the Hawk 42. Only a 22-yard punt. Going to be great field position for the Panthers.
Yeah. That sure is right there. Not a great starting drive for the Hawks by any stretch. A penalty, a few nothing plays, and then a punt that barely got over the line. This is not where you want to put the Panthers on their opening drive. It's going to be a long night if this is what the Hawks are going to do.
Yeah, but maybe there's some nerves. You never know. But, you're right. Not the start they want. I want to point out here as I'm going through the starters, Kenny Davis, number 51, has moved to left guard. Grady Elias has a concussion, is not starting at the left guard spot. Jamie Gardner's going to start at left tackle. So that is the injury note. Here is Hellman. He's got all day back there. Got all kinds of time. He's going to run. He's going to throw. Airmail Snyder had him. So that was interesting, Pat. The one thing, you got to get pressure on Hellman. They did not, but it looks like they had a pretty nice coverage down the field.
They definitely, I think, caught a break right there. He had plenty of time to throw. He got outside. I mean, he's rolling to his right. He just, I think there was a little adrenaline on that throw because he had Snyder.
He did. This is Hellman. This is the screen. This is Dante Corey. Oh, that's a great play. He was trying to get the block on the, but that was Charlie Simmons came up and really laid the wood.
Man, he shed the block there and made the hit at the same time.
Yeah, if you watch the replay here, Josh Snyder was trying to get him. He just went right by him, and that's just really beautifully done. The St. Clair receivers have blocked this year. That's a very nice individual play by Simmons.
Well, Simmons, he's got him probably by about 20 pounds, and he just kind of bullied his way right in there.
All right, so 3rd and 11. This is Hellman looking for the slant. There is Snyder. He gets up the field. He gets the first down. Going to be about a 15, 16-yard gain. Nice, simple slant from Hellman to Snyder for a first down, Panthers.
Yeah, great throw, great catch. Snyder he hesitated for a second, and I think it registered to him. I just got to get yards, and he got the first down. That was a nice heads-up play by the sophomore.
Well, it's just what you talked about in terms of getting off the field on 3rd down.
Yeah.
They did absolutely the two good things on the first 2 downs. 3rd and 11, put them in a bad spot, and then a first down here. So Panthers in business here at the Hawk 29. This is Hellman. Dante Corey, off tackle left, good block on the corner from Snyder. Spins. He's going to get about 4. Not a bad run by Dante. Trying to stay on schedule here, but pretty good for the Panthers on first.
Yeah, Hawks got a couple guys there, but he was able to. I mean, a first down 4 yards is 3-4 yards is what you want to do in a game like this.
We'll set the rest of the lineup here. Ethan Hellman, the senior quarterback. Dante Corey, senior tailback behind him. At the receiver spot, we've talked about Snyder, 15. Bryce Jones, 1. Nico D'Orazio, 4. Andrew Sanderson, number 10 in the slot. Mason Geyer at center. Chase Kazmarzik at right guard. And Ryan Robbins at right tackle. This is Snyder on the screen. Good block by D'Orazio. Gets to about the 22-yard line, I'll say, for a gain of 4. Set up maybe 3rd and 2 or 3.
Looks like that's what it looks like, about 3rd and 3. Again, just nothing fancy. Just making easy plays. Chewing up some field position, and 3rd and 3 is a good position.
It's funny. The Panthers have been so run dominant the last 2 years. It's interesting to see them throw short passes to sort of set up the run. It's not what I'm used to, but Junk's going to play to his personnel. This is a draw to Corey. He's got a little bit of hole. He gets across the 20. It's going to be close. I don't think he got it. Now it's going to be 4th and 1. This will be an interesting call, Pat. What do you put on your coaching hat? What do you do here if you're the Panthers?
Well,
they're clearly going.
I'm looking at the personnel here. I wouldn't be surprised if they just go Hellman right on the tush push here. Look, there's some big boys up on that line. I don't think Junko's going to complicate this one.
So Ben Bales, number 77, is in the game as the swing lineman with Elias out. Yeah. This is Dante right up the middle. He's going to get it, I believe. Nice little second surge there. Got to almost the 18.5, which is all he needed. So You're right. They didn't complicate it. It wasn't a tush push, but it was power.
I formation, give to the tailback. grind it out.
Very St. Clair Bethel so far. A lot of physicality. We're not chucking it down the field. Kind of what you like to see. But so far for the Panthers, this is a nice drive. They're possessing the ball and doing some good things.
This is kind of a page out of the Jim Render playbook right now. Chew up clock and run the football, and own the trenches.
All right, so new set of down for the Panthers. Jones in motion here. Now this is a pitch on the little end around. Cuts it up. Good block from Drew Sanderson. Spins. Bryce is going to get about 5. Pretty good gain on first down there for the Panthers, and a little bit of trickery. Nothing crazy.
Yeah, I mean they're moving the football right now. You don't need big plays. You just do the small plays effectively. And
yeah, and the one thing that this Panthers team has done this season very well on the offensive side of the ball is not beat themselves.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a key tonight. Not turn over the ball, not get behind the sticks. That's important stuff.
I think that's generally a trademark of Panther football. Just good execution, limit the penalties.
And I think that's going to be a first down as well. Dante Corey's really hitting the hole hard tonight. Boy, it's just going to depend on where the mark is. I thought it looks like he did. So it's going to be first and goal from the 9 here for the Panthers. Now, this has been a bit of a bugaboo for the Panthers. When they've gotten it deep, they have not been great in the red zone. If there's one sort of, Achilles heel of their offense, it's been that. Here's Hellman. He's got time. He's going to get to the outside. He's going to try to throw it. He's going to cut inside. So I thought he was going to throw it away. He's going to end up getting maybe a yard. I'm sure the coaches don't really want him to take a hit like that, but he didn't lose any yards. No big deal.
No, there was good coverage in the secondary there, and they got a little pressure. They were able to flush him and shorten the field for him. So Hawks did a nice job in the perimeter.
One thing that Hellman has done this year, I think, better than he has previously. I think his propensity was to take off and run last year. He's a competitive guy. He's athletic. He's really scrambled to buy himself time and keep his eyes downfield beautifully this year. So, all right, here's Durazio in motion. Going to fake it to him. Now the inside handoff to Dante. It opened up beautifully. That's going to be a touchdown for the Panthers. From 8 yards out, senior Dante Corey, and the Panthers strike first.
Wow. Yeah, I think the Hawks just they fell for the fake there. You had the line pulling to the left. Great play action. Well, great fake by Hellman. He just gives back on the counter, and you could have driven a bus through that hole.
Yeah, you could see it right there, actually. The outside linebacker and the outside down lineman were out following Durazio around, and the hole just opened up. Beautifully blocked by the Panthers. I was a little concerned about with Grady Elias out, the typical starting left guard. Kenny Davis has been a starter this year, as has Jamie Gardner, due to some injuries. To see them both, together, you were worried about the continuity in the line, but the offensive line had a really good first series.
Heck of an opening drive. I mean, there really wasn't. There were no negative plays, and there weren't any huge plays. But again, 4 or 5 yards in a clip, and when you're starting on a short field, they just burned 5 minutes off the clock, and they're in the end zone.
Yeah, it's a dream start for the Panthers. Kudos to them. I want to give a shout-out to our recent Hall of Fame inductees. The 2025 class of the Upper St. Clair Hall of Fame was inducted last night. By the way, if you have not been to the Hall of Fame induction ceremony at the high school, it is wonderful. I'm biased. I'm on the Academic Hall of Fame committee, but it is a wonderful night. So congratulations to Tanya Chitani and Joe DeMar, Chris Haynes and Vince Reyes. Chris Haynes is class of 97 and Vince Reyes class of 94. They were classmates of mine, so congratulations to them for making the Academic Hall of Fame. For the arts, Coach Malarkey's daughter Jenny, 2006, another Wake Forest grad. Pete Mudge from the class of 2001. Richard St. John from the class of 1970. And then if you want to talk athletes, you had 3 great ones go in last night. Big Ben Huss, class of 2014, excellent football player at Duquesne and St. Clair. Troy Kiernan, one of the best soccer players I ever saw at St. Clair, 2-time state champion, class of 2014. And Chris McDonough, star at Ohio University for baseball, class of 2006. Dude, switch hitter, could murder baseball. So congratulations to all of you. It is quite an honor to enter into our Hall of Fame, and well-deserved. It was a wonderful class this year, and I was honored to be there last night. So Pat, have we learned anything after one drive from each team, or still kind of too early to tell, particularly how abbreviated Bethel's drive was?
Well, We haven't learned. We haven't learned probably what we didn't already know. I'll say that. I mean, what you expect from Upper St. Clair is just it's smart football. Manage the clock, manage field position, execute. Move the football, right? And from the Bethel side, again, what we talked about in pregame, like things to avoid. Mistakes, the penalties, putting yourself in a bad position, poor field position, and again, this is already setting up to be a Upper St. Clair advantage right out of the gates, and I'm sure Coach Peckage it's in the back of his mind already. I'm sure he's trying to calm those guys down and say, look, all right, it's 7-0. All right, let's do what we do. Get back in this.
So do you think, is it too early to say this, or is this a big drive for the Hawks? At least you got to get a first down and get some momentum going.
Well, let's see if they can get Dennison going here.
And that is David Dennison with the ball. He's going to get off tackle right. Pretty decent gain, get about 2 or 3.
Right.
Looked like, it was Banbury again, Phil. And, the St. Clair have some younger guys on the line of scrimmage. It'll be interesting to see how they have a sophomore nose, Will Stoll, junior Anthony Bunn on the outside end. It'll be interesting to see how they hold up against some of the downhill power stuff from Bethel.
Yeah. Well, I think Peckage really wants to lead on the run early. And last year that wasn't necessarily the case with some of the athletes he had on the edge.
Yeah, with Petrus and Ori and those guys.
Even though he had he had an all-stater at running back who ran for 2,000 yards, he had a very different running style than Dennison, who's more downhill power. And
this is Dennison again. Oh boy, did he get stuck there! And I'll tell you what, right now, these guys, the linebackers are really coming to play right now. That was Anthony Bunn from the defensive end spot, and then Nevin Sheegan again. They're fired up, and that's great to see if you're a Panther fan.
Yeah, Hawks are in a little better situation here, 3rd and 4, than they were last series.
That's the on-schedule part.
Yeah, but I expect them to go up top here. I think like this year they're trying to get Dennison involved early in the game and kind of establish the run, whereas last year they were going pass early and.
Well, they're going to try to get outside, and Randy Yam, the safety, came up. But I'll tell you what, they're flowing to the ball nicely, staying in their lanes, and this is pretty disciplined stuff from the Panthers so far.
I mean, there was nothing but black jerseys there. As good as Dennison is, he's not breaking 5 tackles at the same time.
By the way, I should point out, if you're a longtime viewer here this season, Beck Shields, that was him, number 23, usually number 9. Apparently something happened to his uniform. He's going to be 23 the rest of the way. I hope Beck didn't set it on fire or something, but Beck's a great football player, and we don't want to cheat him. He's going to be around the ball a lot.
Yeah, hope mom didn't bleach it or something.
No. So this is so Vogel, again, this is a much better punt this time. Durazio's over. He lets it bounce. So Nico probably would have been better suited to at least try to go fair catch that. It's going to cost him about 15 yards of field position. Yeah. Much better field position if you're a Hawk fan, all the way to the Panther 25-yard line to start drive number 2 for St. Clair.
Yeah, it's funny. It seems like more and more nowadays they don't want the punt returner anywhere near the football, which it's kind of surprising me when you have a situation like that where really all you got to do is put your hands up and it saves you 15, 20 yards. And I hate to be one of those guys, but back in my day, I used to return punts with Mike Phillips, who was a great player at Bucknell, and he had some wheels too, and we were dual returners, like 2 deep guys, and we basically challenged each other like, this ball's not hitting the ground. If you let it hit the ground, you're going to hear from me.
So, Nico's usually really aggressive, too, and he's got great hands. So this is Nico in motion. He's going to fake. Now they faked it. It was the same play they scored the touchdown, except they faked it to both guys. Hellman's rolling out. He's going to go across the field. Boy, that is a dangerous throw. Not throwing back across your body across the field, but Yan catches it for a first down.
A lot of credit to both guys there. I mean, there was nothing there. There was nothing there. There was great coverage in the secondary, and Hellman he bought time, and eventually Yan was on the route the other way and worked himself all the way back across the field.
Oh, here's Banbury. So you got the change of pace back. So Corey's more of a one-cut-and-go. Banbury's more of a banger, and maybe they're going to try to wear him down here, but that was a big hole. Robbins, Geyer, and Kazmarzik really busted through a big hole there.
Notice the Panthers wasted no time. They got out, they lined up, and they hit him with it quick.
Well, Mike loves tempo.
Kid.
He loves tempo.
This is a good time for it.
Unfortunately, they were not set there. That's going to back him up. The disappointing thing there is you had 2nd and 1. Put him in 2nd and 6. Probably a little disappointed. I'm sure they're frustrated. Maybe they were trying to go too fast.
Coach Junko's a little more reserved after that penalty than Coach Render would have been. Yeah, that's a nice little boost to the Hawks there. Kind of takes them out of that rhythm, gives them a chance to reset on D.
So, hey, let's see if they can capitalize. The Panthers capitalize on the first drive, taking advantage of a Hawk mistake. Let's see if Bethel can capitalize now. So 2nd and 6 now. Durazio back in motion the other way. This is a screen.
Bubble.
This is Randy Ann. Pretty well diagnosed from the Hawks. Going to be about a 3-yard gain, which is not a bad thing, but the Hawks were kind of all over that. They had a number of people. Brian McGuire's the one who ended up making the tackle.
They kind of had a lot of different action going there, and I think we're hoping to catch the Hawks sleeping a little bit on that bubble screen, and kind of threw it right back into the lineman. I mean, McGuire's the D tackle, and he took a step back, and there it was. So, kind of did him a favor.
There's a lot of misdirection right now from the Panthers, I feel like, which great. It's probably hard to defend, but I'm having a hard time even finding where the ball is right now. 3rd and 3, pretty big play here early, and they got another. No, that's a timeout. It looks like. Timeout upper St. Clair. So a couple shout-outs here. First shout-out to Anthony Capriotti. He's complimenting the broadcast. Capo, thanks, buddy. I appreciate you tuning in. I'm hearing from Mike McKenzie right now that Mike Phillips was better. So don't take that the wrong way, Pat. I'm hearing some chirping, though, from McKenzie. I think it's probably time also. I want to I like to keep these broadcasts light, but I want to send out my condolences to Mike and his family. His brother Mark passed away this week, and he was an Upper St. Clair grad. Fantastic guy, fantastic golfer. So we're going to send our condolences to the McKenzie family, and Mike in particular is a dear friend of mine on the loss of his brother. So back to the football. Put your offensive coordinator. Put your offensive coordinator hat on here, Pat. What do you think you do if you're Mike Junko here? Like, what would your play call be here?
Well, 3rd and 3. I mean, it's still first quarter. There's a lot of game to play here. I mean, given what Hellman's doing right now, and they really haven't gone to the air much. I think you trust him to go play action here and maybe look for something in the flat.
There have been a lot of screen passes so far, so I wouldn't be surprised if Bethel's expecting that. Honestly, I could see just about anything right now. So it's going to be a classic drop back. They got a slant, and that's Jones again, and that's going to be a first down. It's really simple pitch and catch right now, Pat.
Yeah, he had 2 options there. He looked to the flat first, to the quick screen, and then that really wasn't there. He pulled up, and slant was wide open, and he put it right where it needed to be. So, I mean, that's the kind of throws he's been making this year.
This is why we talked about you have to get pressure on the passer, because he will pick you apart, his decision-making and his accuracy. This is Banbury again, cutting up the middle. Oh, he got forward lean there. Didn't quite break the tackle. And credit to Dennison who came up and got him. But that's still about a 5-yard gain on first down.
Panthers moving the football. Hawks still having problems getting them off the field. And this drive now is, cross midfield. Looks like we're coming to the end of the quarter here, but again, a few more minutes chewed off the clock, another 30 yards, and now they're very close to field goal range.
This is Banbury again. Oh, nice little cut through the hole. Here goes Ben. Oh, what a move. He gets to the outside. Banbury's at the 20, the 15, the 10. He's at the 5. Sean Banbury. Boy, I hope we can get a replay of that because he made 2 jump cuts. He's supposed to be the banger, and he made 2 beautiful jump cuts.
Yeah, don't let him fool you. That kid, he's got moves too. He comes from a really strong football family heritage. He's got 3 older brothers that all played in college. his brother Luke just had an all-Ivy career at Cornell and is now in his 5th year at William & Mary.
He's leading the CAA in tackles.
He's on track to be the CAA Defensive Player of the Year.
That's going to be a touchdown. There he is. Johnny Banbury gets in for the Panther touchdown. And, boy, if you are a Panther fan right now, you could not be more excited about this start.
Yeah, 14-0 early in a game like this. That's a lot of points to make up, considering last year was what was the final?
It was very tight last year. I think it was 14 to 10. And it was like 3 yards in a cloud of dust stuff.
So we're there, and that came down to one play at the end.
Well, there's no question the Panther offense has been a lot more explosive in this season. But I'll tell you what, tonight we're seeing a little bit more of the ground and pound, the control. I mean, the first quarter is almost over. There's only 15 seconds left. It's been 2 drives and really nice ball control possession, and Bethel doesn't even have a first down.
Yeah, the time of possession's just the Panthers have dominated. So, a lot of these guys, keep in mind, there's a lot of these players are two-way guys. So, when your defense is on the field that long, all right, your offensive guys that you're expecting to make big plays and step up, they're a little gassed. So it's kind of deflating when you start out like this and they just open two drives in a row, just take it right down and punch it in. So
this is a great segue, by the way. So let's get into this because Render has a take on this and Glenn Groniger had a take on this. So two-way football, very common in high school. Mike Junko clearly is not as big of a fan in that. He does not play many guys both ways. Seems like Mason Geyer plays a lot on defense, Ryan Robbins some, but Banbury doesn't run the ball as much because he wants to play him on defense, things like that. Dante Corey's a great linebacker, plays mostly on offense. What's your philosophy there? Do you want the best guys on the field as much as possible, or do you want to shield them from that if you can?
It really depends on your depth, right? I think Upper St. Clair, if you look at their roster size, it's one of the larger rosters in Whitfield. Not just in 5A, but really across all classifications. Bethel's not small either, but I think Upper St. Clair goes a little deeper. And when you have that depth and you have the quality of talent as well, then you can be a little more flexible with your with who you play and But my general philosophy is, look, your best guys need to be on the field. Whether they're two-way players or not, it's how much depth you have.
That's a good carry from Dennison. He's going to get 5. That's more like it for the Hawks.
Yeah.
You notice how he made an exception for Nate Stoll last year, who never came up.
Well, and there's a difference. Again, you could have a sophomore who's going to be an all-stater at some point, right?
I understand.
But if you've got a senior who's a good player who's got 30 pounds on him, and there's a big difference in size, and I'm like, I'd rather have my big guy out there, who's more physical and can bang for 4 quarters than trust in a younger, smaller guy. Even if the skill set's there, it's just you really got to keep your best guys on the field. And
so that is the end of the first quarter. Great start for the Panthers. Panthers lead the Hawks 14-0 after 1. So I got to give a shout out here while the dance team performs to one of my, I got to be pro Panther, but one of my favorite Hawks is watching tonight, Darren Moore. D. Moore, I coached both of his sons, Brett and Jack, although the talent in the family was really Kate, the daughter. So shout out to Darren and Missy. Love you guys. Miss you. Hope to see you soon. I hope your Hawks lose badly tonight. So, Pat, obviously we can see the score. We can see it's been fairly one-sided in the first quarter. If you're Bethel right now, what is the focus on this drive? Are we getting back to basics? Are we just trying to put together a first down or two? What does he say? What is Coach Pekic saying?
Well, I think it starts with a good return, right? Well, then again, they're not going to get one with the kicking. So, last year they were able to depend on that. If Petrus was able to get his hand on the ball, next thing you know, they're starting to drive at midfield. They'll be at the 20 here again, or starting off. So they're going to have to. Again, you got to. They're only down 14-0. It's the second quarter. You've got the best running back in 5A. All right, you have to get him going. You might have to. I'm going to have to try some different looks. I think Pekic, he's really an offensive mind, so he's going to start digging into the playbook a little more, and I think he's got to. I think he's got to let Devine start to sling it a little bit. I think they've been kind of leaning on the run a little more this year, and they've been, in some of their big losses, he was slow to go to the passing game, and I think you're going to see it come out a little sooner.
So here it is, and he's going to go down the field. It's a little bit of a
there
wheel
you
route.
go.
He's got him. Oh, what a catch! That is incredible adjustment of the ball from Will Sabatos. And it was pretty good coverage from Caffrey Duplessis. Outside shoulder, beautiful body control.
Perfect throw, unbelievable catch. And this is what Sabatos has done all year for the Hawks. He's their big play threat. He's had a handful of catches that look just like that.
And we're going to see this replay. That's just great body control. You don't see that from a high school junior very frequently.
And again, not afraid to go up top right away. You have to start challenging this Panther defense a little more.
So this is Dennison, and that's a good hard run. Panthers stood him up, but that's what we expected to see from David Dennison, getting downhill, making the first guy miss, and leaning forward. He probably got 4 or 5 there.
Yeah, there was a lot of black jerseys on the ground there. He got through a crowd and made a few guys miss. But Pekic looks like he's going a little more up-tempo. He's trying to get him off balance.
Yeah, lest you think this is going to be some sort of blowout, it's not likely to happen. I've watched a lot of Bethel St. Clair games, other than in Pat's day when we blew out everybody. You don't see it very often here. All right, so this is Dennison again. Oh, there was a big hole there. So that's probably the first time they've really gashed him, and he got about 6 or 7 there. Easy first down for the Hawks.
Yeah, 2 big runs right there for the big guy. They're starting to get the wheels on the bus going here.
Yeah, and they got some bulk on the Zach Hutt's the big center there, 55. We talked about Lamolinaire, 77. Yeah. Big number 70. There's Ryan Berge, and those dudes are starting to create some space.
Yeah, those guys they've been on the field. They're experienced. They can move bodies.
So let's see how the Panthers counter here. This is they're deep into Panther territory here at about the 26.
Okay.
And now there's some sort of action here. Devine's in the pistol. Dennison behind him. Now he fakes him. He's going to go outside. Now it's a throwback. He was looking at the throwback screen for Dennison. It was not there.
Ooh.
Oh, big hit there. That is John Banbury again with bad intentions. And going to be a loss of 1 or 2.
Great pressure there.
Good job of the Panthers staying disciplined, because that was obviously some sort of trick action there.
Yeah, and there really was. He might have had the tight end open early, but as soon as he got flushed out, forget it. The Panthers were pretty locked up in the secondary, and one thing that Devine's been good with this year is kind of just getting out of the pocket and get rid of the football, but that time it cost him a couple yards.
Yeah, it did. You want to throw the ball away, and we've already talked to that. We've seen it with Hellman. You certainly don't want to take a hit like that. So it's going to be a second and about 12. Devine's going to throw again. He gets to the outside. He's got a little bit of pressure. This is Dennison out in space. Oh, nice cut up the middle. So he turned nothing into a gain of about 2 or 3. Sheegan did a nice job bringing him down, but that's got to be scary seeing a body that big and that athletic in space.
2 guys staring him down. They had him dead to rights, and he just quick stutter step, and he was by both of them.
Yeah, Panthers were in the nickel there. Ethan Blau, the nickel safety, helped Nevin Sheegan get him to the ground. But, good stuff from Dennison. It could have been another loss. Instead, we're dealing with 3rd and 10. And, this could be 4-down territory for the Hawks, too.
Yeah, for sure. You got to get Dennison in the passing game more as well. He's one of their big 3 receivers. And
so they're going to run wide, and it's obviously 4 down if they're doing that. Nice job getting him to the ground. I thought he was going to sneak through. Durazio, the safety, got a shoestring tackle. So obviously they are going to go for it here. They got about 6 or 7 there. So, just try to get half of it. A pretty good call from the Hawks.
If I know anything about Phil Pekic, he's not hesitating on this call. He wants to extend this one, get in the end zone.
So what do you think we see here? You've watched a lot more Bethel football than I have.
Where's Dennison?
He's not in the backfield.
Interesting. Well, they're throwing it then.
Yeah.
Okay, well, now he's
going timeout. So that was Tyler Miller, who's kind of the change of pace scat back number 22, but then maybe they're going to rethink it. So without seeing the formation, what would you do if you were Coach Pekic here?
You got to have David in there, I think. Maybe they're just giving him a breather. But if you're going to throw the football, you want to go play action off him. You got to at least get the linebackers to freeze for a second so you can find a tight end or a quick slant route. I don't see him going for the big pass.
No, I mean it's 3 or 4 yards. The threat of a run is in play here.
Yeah, you have to. I think you got to make Upper St. Clair respect them.
Now I'm going to get into the old man yells at cloud part of the program here. It happens once a broadcast, but I get frustrated at someone like the shotgun on short yardage, things like that. This is one where I would get frustrated if you don't have your bell cow back there, at least as the threat of the run. Because you're telling me you don't think Dennison can get 3 or 4 yards or the threat of that? Come on.
Right.
I don't buy that.
Right. He could, you could even make a great read and he could run over 2 guys and, shed a few tackles and still get there.
No, absolutely. You got a player that good, to me, he's either your guy or your decoy, and there he is.
There he is. He's back. I think they were just giving him time to get a little rest.
Okay, so it's a little more of a power set here, but there is one receiver wide. That's Novoshevic. Now they're going to shift back here. So we've got sort of a heavy set left. 4th and 3. It's going to fake the pitch. Oh, it's a wheel route. There's a man.
Open.
He's wide open. That is going to be a touchdown for the Hawks. That's number 2. No, who is that? I think that's Charlie Simmons, number 3. Yep. But that's a really nice play call. Great. They did use him as a fake, as a decoy there, and had those trips left. And nice throw by Devine. That was a rocket right on the hands.
Yeah, great play call. Great execution. Again, he sold the fake to Dennison, and then they scored to Dennison to the flat where you had to honor him as well. And then I think the corner of the linebacker got caught up and Simmons slipped right behind.
Oh, it's blocked. Wow, Durazio ran in absolutely scot-free. That was Xavier Jackson, the soccer player who's been kicking. And, in a game that's likely to be close, every point matters, and that's a big play for the Panthers.
Yeah, again, this is in this rivalry historically, it's the little things that Upper St. Clair does that give them the advantage, and that's just another example. I mean, you have a big drive, you cut it to a score, and then you botch the extra point, right? And that's just in games like this that matters, right? Then you're going for 2 down later in the game when it's tight, and that's a predicament you don't want to be in.
Yeah, one thing that Coach Junko has really taken from the Jim Render regime is special teams and how they emphasize it. Jim was one of the first guys I knew around here to find a soccer player who could really kick. We talk, seems like every week, about the legacy of great St. Clair kickers. Yeah. That's not something a lot of teams were doing back in the day. And, it's just gotten better and better. Jacobo's the best I've ever seen, and Bennett Henderson before him was kicking at Fordham. They really have a nice legacy in the kicking game.
Does Junk ever talk about his kicking prowess back in the day?
Oh no, but I'm hoping there's a story here.
He was the first team all-conference punter.
I knew that. Year. Yeah. And his brother was really good.
I'll tell you what, the biggest game we had that year was against Mount Lebanon, who at the time was ranked 4th in the country. It was the last game of the year for the conference championship. It ended up being a grinded-out 14-0 game. And it really came down to Junk punting them deep every time.
They go with the short kick here. This is Drew Sanderson.
Oof.
So that's great field position for the Panthers. And Sanderson's one of those guys who, you don't really want to get the ball to him. If he's an up guy, he can fly.
Yeah, the Hawks have done a lot of that in recent years, just trying to catch you off guard, these pooch kicks and things like that. And I'm not a big fan because look where they have the ball right now. You're giving them short field, and they kind of take some of the wind out of your sails. And again, it's where it's nice to have a kicker like Jacobo who can bomb it and just says, "Hey guys, there's one less thing to worry about."
Yeah, he's really special. Got an offer from Robert Morris this week. Congratulations to him. He hasn't decided or anything, but it's nice to know you have options. This is Hellman. He got time. He wanted to go down the field. They have Snyder covered. They have Jones covered. See, that's where you got to get rid of the football. Yeah. That's going to be a big loss. That's about a 7-yard gain, and that's a rare mistake from the senior to not get it out of his hands, and he took a big loss there.
Yeah, well, that's really the first time all game that we have seen him finally get barricaded in. Like the Hawks sealed that one edge. He's been used to running out there and just buying time in the flat, and he got forced back in, and it was nothing but trouble there.
So the momentum has certainly shifted here towards the Hawks. He's going to roll. Oh, he's got a man.
Geez.
It's a blown coverage, and that is Durazio. He's at the 40, the 30. He's going to fake. He stops and goes. He gets about down almost to the 10. Nico Durazio. Boy, that is just a little. Oh, no, we got a flag. Unfortunately, it's coming back. Must be a hold, unfortunately, on the Panthers. Boy, they really sucked him there on the fake from Hellman, but it's coming back.
It could be
illegal man
man
downfield.
That was my guess, given how long he held that football.
Replay second down.
And there was a lot of the linemen, I think, were thinking run.
Well, it looked like he was going to go wide with a run here.
Well, he tucked it too.
Well, I think he did that to hold the safety, or to hold the D-back, which worked. Unfortunately, he may have fooled some of his linemen. So that's a big shift in momentum.
I think they were expecting. I mean, some of these, again, this is these modern offenses right now where there's run blocking on a pass play. And
the RPO stuff.
As a lineman, your job is just to block, right? You're not thinking, well, I'm 5 yards downfield, I got to turn around, or like. It gets overly complicated, I think, and they got burnt on that one because that was a big play.
Yeah, it was. So that's a big momentum shift. 2nd and 22. This is Dante Corey. Gets up the middle, gets a nice gain of about, let's say, 8 to the Panther 34. We'll set up a more manageable 3rd and 12 or 13, so makes sense here. But this is a big play for both teams right now, given how the momentum has sort of teetered back towards the Hawks.
Yeah, the Hawks, they really need to get off the field here.
Yeah, this is where it's difficult sometimes, particularly if you can't get heat on Hellman, because there are so many good options to throw the ball to. There's 6 or 7 guys who can really make plays. Oh, it's a screen. Oh, boy. So they kind of blew it up there. It really wasn't that open. They let the guys in fine, but the linebackers, the second wave, had that, I think, diagnosed pretty well.
Yeah, it looked like the Hawks were dropping 7 guys there. So, I mean, obviously, 3rd and long, they're not sending the house, and they were just kind of waiting for it and got away with one. That was a bad throw. And
so here's a rare punt from Jacobo. He was first team all-conference punting last year. I think he's only punted about twice this year. So he's very good at it. He just hasn't had a whole lot of practice. Yeah. But hopefully the Panthers can flip the field here. Good snap from Jamie Gardner. He's going to – oh, no, it's a fake.
He'll punt.
No, he is going to punt it. It's way up in the air. It took a bad bounce. Still gets it to the 30 or 31. So one of the other advantages about having Jacobo Echeverria is he's a marvelous athlete. Great point guard. He can run around. So, maybe they outthought themselves a little bit there, but at the same time, didn't really hurt him. It was a pretty good punt. Got about 30-some yard net. So
that's something you never see at high school, at the high school level. That's an unbelievably athletic play by a punter, and obviously they trust him to do it.
Illegal formation, kicking team, 5 men lined up in the backfield.
This is like what the NFL is looking for, with these punters that they bring in from Australia. They can kick it every which way, and they can get it to spin back and bounce. He's running around there. Looking to throw it. If they hadn't picked up that guy sneaking out of the backfield, he probably would have thrown that ball and then realized, I got to kick this.
It's one of the reasons why I can't believe some of the big schools haven't jumped at him. Because, he's a great kicker and a great punter, and a huge leg, so he's got talent. Yeah. He is incredibly athletic. You ought to see him play hoops. He is just a great athlete. To me, the ceiling has to be super high on a kid like that.
It's just, kicking is such a specialized skill in college, and with NIL now, that whole the whole game for kicking has changed a lot.
Yeah, hard to get an offer out of high school. This is Dennison. Gets wide. So, interestingly enough, one of the Panthers' adjustments is big Ryan Robbins, number 78, in the game on defense. And they went at him there, and Ryan did a nice job. So he only got about maybe 2-3 max there. So this is what they did last week when South Fayette was really gashing them. They put Robbins in the game, and that seemed to steady the defense a little bit.
Well, anytime you've got a guy that's 6'7", 280 playing up front, you got to put probably a couple bodies on him. You know, he's going to occupy a couple blocks. And
here's Devine. He's got all day. Now he's running out of time. Stoll throws down the field. Boy, he rode. I mean, Caffrey Duplessis just came right on time at Sabatos. Give him tons of credit. He got popped, held on. First down, Hawks. Good throw, too, from Devine.
That was under pressure. Put that right on the money, and Sabatos again with another great catch.
He's been very impressive. Devine has been so far.
Yeah, I told you he's the X factor tonight. If he plays the way he's been playing.
So this is Dennison again. Not a whole lot of room. That's Big Mason Geyer, the Davidson recruit, number 70. Really stout at the point of attack. Robbins and Sheegan come in to finish the play. But that's if you're a Panther fan, that's what you want to see. Just a total stand-up at the line.
And I'm sure that's exactly what Junko wants to see. Just they're giving. We know they're giving to him. He just ran into a brick wall right there. I mean, you got three big boys up front and.
All right, so 2nd and 9 here. This has been a very interesting game in terms of the momentum shifts, and this is Devine again. They're gonna go up top again. This is Beck Shields chasing. Here comes Banbury chasing. He's rolling to his left and throws it out of bounds. Really nice pursuit from the Panther linebackers there.
Yeah, they really flushed them out, and smart play, just chucking it. You don't want to take a loss there.
Yeah, sometimes when you're in your first year, we're seeing a guy who's been played for 4 years versus a guy who's in his first. Sometimes there is a difference there in terms of decision making, things like that. But Devine's been sharp so far.
You would have no idea that this guy was on the golf team last fall.
All right, golf team. Shout out to us for our varsity golfers. I won 3 Whitfield championships on a varsity golf team at Upper St. Clair. Thanks to all of you who actually made that happen, as opposed to me, who was along for the ride. Back to Mike McKenzie, who was one of the actual good players. So that's going to be another timeout there. I think that's the Hawks took that one, so that's going to be their second timeout. And with 4:17 left, Panthers leading 14-6 here. So Pat, what we've seen so far actually is sort of a tale of 2 quarters right now. Panthers were very dominant in the first quarter. Hawks have definitely come alive here. But you also saw a lot of Hawk mistakes early. Now you've seen a lot of Panther mistakes, about 4 or 5 flags. Is there a trend here we're seeing, or just sort of the flow of an actual football game?
I think the Panthers came out flying. They had the momentum. The Hawks were a little, they don't like coming to this place, right? I mean, this is a tough place to play, and I'm sure last year's loss is hanging over their head, and they just didn't come out sharp. And I think Pekic kind of loosened them up and said, hey, let's go play our game, and he freed up Devine a little more, and I think the play that really killed the Panthers was that penalty that they were rolling midfield, and they had that holding penalty. They brought it way back, and the drive stalled and gave the Hawks some breathing room, and now they're kind of rolling with it here.
Big play, 3rd and 9, and that's going to be 3rd and 14 now. You saw the motion. He stood up out of his stance. I believe it was the right guard.
Offense, number 55.
Yeah, 55, the right guard. That's Zach Hotz. So that's big now, because 3rd and 14 is very different from 3rd and 9.
And as soon as I say that, the Hawks make a mistake.
Well,
right? So
the ebbs and flows of high school sports.
Now they're going to need a big ball here. 3rd and 14.
See if the Panthers try to get some heat on them, or they drop back. Looks like they're going to drop back, only rushing 3, but Geyer's in. No, and they blitz Beck Shields. They're going to go downfield. They got a man, but he's badly overthrown. And it's probably because Beck Shields was in his face. A delayed blitz, it looked like, from the outside, and no harm, no foul.
Yeah, I mean, Devine got rid of it, but there was a lot of pressure. He didn't really have a chance on that one. Nice job by the Panthers. Getting them off.
So that was a nice athletic play by the kicker to catch that, and it's going to take a Bethel bounce, so not bad. Again, their punting game obviously is not a huge strong point, you can tell, but that's all you really need. Yeah. They advanced that. It's not great field position, but The Panthers will have the ball with just inside of 4 minutes left at their own 26. So, Pat, I think one of the one things I like to talk about is how you end halves, essentially. We talk about that a lot on these broadcasts. The Panthers are going to get the ball in the second half. Obviously, what you would love to see here from an Upper St. Clair guy is a nice sustained drive, getting points, and then getting the ball back in the second half.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you're Bethel, it's the exact opposite. So, I think that's really important.
Yeah, and with 4 minutes left here, I think if you're the Panthers and you can get down and get a field goal out of this, which again you don't need to get that deep into Hawks territory to set up the field goal. That's a huge win going into half and coming out with the ball.
Yeah, going up by 2 scores. That is a nice gash right there up the middle. That is Dante Corey. Just great stuff from the Panther line. If you were worried at all about the injuries and lack of continuity, you shouldn't be. They've had a really nice first half.
Yeah. Looks like the Panthers are starting to get back into rhythm here. Going a little hurry up.
They are going tempo. This is Corey. See, this time nobody really put a body on number 3 Simmons, but he's going to get a first down. That's a nice hard run by the senior Penn commit.
Quick first down, 2 plays. Hurry up once again.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have to hurry, obviously, but I think it's just sort of part of what they do. This is Dante, and look at him go. And that is beautiful stuff. Corey, but Jamie Gardner, number 54, 51, Kenny Davis, they were just pushing the pile there. That's great stuff. Yeah, Tim Robbins has got to be really thrilled, the offensive line coach.
I think they're just, again, they don't need to hurry up. I think they're trying to catch this Hawks defense on, unsaid, unprepared, like, hey, let's just keep going. Let's keep going.
Well, that's about 10 from Banable, too.
No substitutions. Like, don't give them time to catch their breath and reset here. Let's just keep moving the football. Hey, I mean, right now they could get 7 here. They're moving the ball pretty good clip.
But you are right. All these guys are playing both ways. Now, that's a nice job. So number 4 there, that's Trey Johnson, shot the gap. Did a really nice job tackling him for a loss. But you're right. I mean, almost every one of these guys, McGuire and Lamolier, they all play both ways. So.
Yep, their entire front line that you see out there plays both ways.
Yeah, so Burgee was also in there, made the tackle. But it's going to take a little bit of time here. 2nd and 11. Again, this is a big series for both teams. Panthers want to get it right. Now they're going to go downhill again. This is Banbury up the middle. Big hole. Oh, the safety falls down. He cuts to the outside. He's at the 20. He's at the 15. All the way down to the 12. Johnny Banbury, big 38-yard run for the Panthers.
That was huge. Just right down the Hawks' throat. I mean,
yeah, it's Gardner, it's Davis, Geyer, Ryan Robbins, and of course, Big Cheese, Chase Komarczyk. Just outstanding stuff from the Panther line.
Didn't even get a hand on him until he was about 20 yards downfield. I mean, that's just a great job by the front line.
All right, now the Panthers are thinking 6. This is Dante Corey back in the game. Look at him push. They are really getting downhill right now. That's going to be about a gain of 4 down to the 9. And, boy, if Jim Render was up here, he would be loving this. This is like a throwback. He usually sitting next to me, and he would have a smirk on his face right now if he was.
As a wide receiver, under Coach Render, this would be the time we're like, great, we're just going to be blocking all the way down the field. Here we go. I mean, when you've got the running game going like this, you just keep going.
Yeah, he's an old Woody Hayes, guys. This is Josh Schneider. Direct snap. Snyder's up. He's to the goal line. He's in. Josh Schneider with 1:01 left in the first half. Goes off tackle left for 9 yards and a touchdown. And the Panthers lead 20-6, extra point pending. That's a real statement drive, Pat.
I mean, you're not kidding. Barely 3 minutes, and they just came down, and a great play call. I mean, again, direct snap to Snyder. What's coming, and I don't think the Hawks were really ready. I think that they kind of got blown off the ball there, and Snyder's a great athlete. He has no problem finding the end zone on that. He's going to get downhill.
So Echeverria adds the extra point. Panthers lead 21-6 with 1:01 to go in the first half.
Yeah, that's just what the Panthers needed.
So what do you do here if you're the Hawks, Pat? Knowing that Panthers get the football here, but you have a quarterback throwing the ball pretty well, I would think you're going to be pretty aggressive here. And we're going to take a commercial break. I'll let you mull over that one and answer when we come back.
Have a nice day, family.
What would they do without me?
Can someone fix my hair?
Must have cheesy eggs.
I can't find my keys.
No! Never! I'm the king of
Oh, I need some help.
I better get more life insurance.
You're irreplaceable, but a life insurance policy from GBU Life can provide your family with the resources for a well-planned future. Visit gbu.org to get started.
We're back. Pat, I gave you time to mull that one over in terms of how aggressive you might be as if you're the Bethel Park coach, given the circumstances right now.
Well, I would expect Phil Peckage to come out and be aggressive, and then let's see what happens on first down. Right? If they're able to get a nice chunk of yards, he'll stay aggressive.
It's a return. I took it for granted there was not going to be a return. This is Dennison, and he got to get all the way out to the 30. Wow. Jacobo must have mishit one.
For the Hawks, yeah.
I mean, he got it to the goal line, but
define mishit.
Yeah, he's so good. I'm shocked when they get a return.
There isn't a high school team in Whitfield that wouldn't love to have their kicker put one at the goal line every time.
Jacobo's probably shaking his head though.
He's apologizing. Sorry, Coach.
What a great kid, man.
I mishit that one.
He's a great kid. I've seen him. I'm out there working out on that field during the summer. I saw him hit a 65-yarder. I mean, no problem. It's just crazy leg strike. All right, so first down is going to be the key here. And Devine is throwing. He's going downfield. And he has got Sabatos again, but no, it was not catchable. And Jones had pretty good coverage. So, yeah, I mean, there's 47 seconds left now. And I guess your concern now is the Panthers have 2 timeouts left.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think he stays aggressive here for at least another play. Third down. If they don't get anything big here, he'll probably throttle it back. But I told you, he's not like, hey, let's take this 21-6, deficit in at half. He wants to score. Like he's got the personnel to do it, and he's gonna go after it. So
I like that attitude, but I treat this like Madden. I'm out of my mind. All right, this is Devine. He's going to screen it out wide. And Dennison doesn't catch it. Now you do have a bit of a problem because the Panthers haven't had to use either of their timeouts, and Bethel has not exactly been convincing in the punting game. So, this will be interesting to see if they run it and make the Panthers take a timeout or whether they say the heck with it. We're going to stay aggressive.
So Upper St. Clair still has 2 timeouts. So even if they put it on the ground here, you're going to see Junk. You're going to see Junk go to stop the clock really quickly here. All right.
So it is a short run, and this will probably be a timeout from Junk. I see. Yeah, going to be a quick timeout with 36 seconds left. So that's.
Well, there's the risk of being aggressive with a minute left, right?
You're right. They drained almost no clock and give the Panthers another chance to put up points.
Upper St. Clair, their second of the half.
And Upper St. Clair's obviously not playing for a run, right? They've got their nickel team out there. They're looking for them to throw the ball, and you just gotta execute and play decent coverage, and you give your offense another chance here.
So a couple shout-outs here. My sister, Erin Yeager, listening. Hopefully the boys, Cam and Casey, are also my nephews. She was asking whether some of the Bethel kids were hoopers, and they were good hoopers. And I laughed. I said, I think so, but we played our best game of the year against them last year, and we were up like 50 at halftime. So I can't even speak that. I know Will Sabatos is. And then definitely a shout-out to Mary Kay Petrini. I want to give a shout-out to her husband, actually, Bob, who was just inducted into the Mercer County Hall of Fame. Bob Petrini from Kennedy High School. Their son, Bobby, was on the first team I ever coached. Was a 2005 Whitfield basketball champion. So shout-out to the Petrinis. All right, let's see what Vogel can do here. They almost had a bad snap last time. He had to jump. That's a better snap this time. No rush. Short kick. Here comes Durazio. He's going to go up and catch it this time. He's at the 45, and he goes down. Very smart. So the Panthers have the ball at about the 44 or 43 of Bethel with 28 seconds left. And, So Jacobo and I were talking this week. What he wanted was an end of half situation where it would force Junko to kick an absurdly long field goal so he can show off his leg. So, yes, I want the Panthers to get a touchdown here, but if that doesn't happen, I want Jacobo to have the chance to kick a 57-yard field goal.
Hey, he needs that U2 moment that'll ignite his recruiting process.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about, because he can hit that easy.
There's a kid across town who's going to Georgia who can kick 57 yards.
Yeah, that Fox Chapel kid,
right?
jeez.
So,
well, if they can't score, so they have to rely on that. Here's Hellman. He's looking downfield. Now he's going to run. Oh, boy.
Ooh.
So they're probably going to have to use a timeout. That was a nice tackle. 45 Jack Johnson got him to the ground with about 17 seconds left. So probably not what you wanted if you're a Panther fan there.
Timeout.
My guess here is this is probably going to be sort of a shorter type pass to try to set up a field goal attempt for Jacobo. Jacobo may get his wish here, because I don't think they're making 40 yards probably in 17 seconds.
Well, if they don't even need a first down, right? If he can kick it 50 plus.
Oh, easy.
Then, this is a 10-yard completion here. Get out of bounds. Send out the kicking unit and let the kid bang one.
No, I am not lying to you when I say I saw him hit a 65-yarder out of his usual, not taking a kickoff run up. Because I was laughing. He was kicking balls. I was over doing stairs. I was like, "You're hitting the school." I said, what's your end distance? He said, "Well, he said, I'll kick a 65-yarder for you." I said, "Come on." He drilled it. I mean, yes. Bennett Henderson, who, like I said, was one of the best kickers I ever saw here, and he's kicking it for him. He was all conference last year.
Yep.
Bennett was automatic. He missed one place kick in 2 years, but he didn't have that leg. It's just ridiculous to watch what Jacobo can do. All right, so Panthers still have a timeout left, 17 seconds left, 2nd and 14. Hellman back to throw, and that's a beautiful throw down the seam to Dante Corey. So are they going to try to – I think they're going to try to clock it here. Looks like they're going to clock it here.
Yeah, they got all they needed right there. Great throw, great catch. So
they clock it with, what do we got, 5 seconds left, and Jacobo got his wish. This is going to be probably about 48 yards. And the one thing I can assure you is he has the leg. And I'll tell you the other thing. Exchanges, all the stuff you worry about in high school sports, because these are high school kids. Gardner and DeRazio have been fabulous this year in terms of snaps and exchanges and holds. Really impressive. The one kick Jacobo missed was a little off, and I don't think he got the laces around. That's the only one I've seen all year in how many kicks they've had.
No, this is a good setup right on the left hash.
So it's going to be 47 yards here. Snap is down. Hold is true. Kick is up. It is bombed. It is good. Oh, no, he missed it.
Oh.
Boy, it must have been wide left. Looked like he really hit it well.
Yeah, distance was definitely not the problem there. I think he...
Well, we're not at a great angle here, to be honest, to ascertain field goals. But Bethel dodges a bullet.
Yeah, they did.
I still don't think you're probably still pretty pleased if you're a Panther. You get the ball to start the second half. 21-6 is a pretty good place to be if you're the Panthers.
Yeah, you love to have 10 points, an extra 10 points coming in. But, there was 4 minutes left. You were hoping to get anything. And
so I assume this will be a kneel here. And, if first of all, let's put on your, head coaching hat. If you're Mike Junko, what do you say to your team at halftime? And then if you're Coach Peckich, what do you say to your team?
Well, the Panthers are doing what they need to do, right? So I don't think Coach Junk's going to have any crazy words of wisdom or we need to change this, we need to change that. He's not going to go full Coach Render, versus North Hills on the road in 1989 when we scrapped our whole defense at halftime, down 27-6 or 27-14, and we did come back to win, but. I think he's just going to say, guys, we're doing what we prepared for all week. All right, our game plan is working. We're just going to keep doing it. I think he's thinking offensively, we want to chew up clock. We're going to keep putting it on the ground. We'll take our chances through the air where we need it. But I don't think he's looking at a whole lot of magic at half, and rightfully so. And Bethel's got a bigger task. They got to come out and make a stop, right out of the gates. And this first, assuming they do, this first series down the field it may decide the game. They've got to they've got to get down there and put some points up and kind of get back in that rhythm that they had in the second half. And, 21-6 isn't insurmountable, but, eventually it gets tougher to lean on Denison if you get down too much, right? You can't churn up that many yards in the running game and chew up that much clock. It's just...
All right, so that will take us to halftime. We'll probably take a break. We're going to see the marching bands, and we will be back to you with the second half. Thanks for tuning in.
Finally, the Mets are featured in a match of the Village Hall Classics, My Life and Only the Good Die Young. Please feel free to sing and clap along to these masterpieces. Please stand up and clap along as the Blackhawk marching band performs their signature drill, Hot Time and Bethel Victory, a Bethel Park tradition for over 50 years. Thank you for your kind attention and go Hawks! And now from the fine and performing arts of the Upper St. Clair Township Schools, we present the pride of Upper St. Clair, the Upper St. Clair High School Panther Marching Band. The band is led on the field by drum majors Ava Wynn and Caitlin Burns. The band's 2025 halftime show is entitled Never Too Much. It opens with the 30th anniversary rendition of Michael Jackson's The Way You Make Me Feel, featuring senior alto saxophonist Andy Shearer. The band will then kick it off with Luther Vandross's song Never Too Much. Drum majors, take it away! choices of all time, and the king of pop. Here's Whitney Houston's I'm Your Baby tonight, and a reprise of The Way You Make Me Feel. Bringing back Andy Shearer on the saxophone, and featuring our upper string Clair and the rest. We'll close our show with something we guarantee you won't hear anywhere else this season. Here's Boyz II Men's hit single, Motown Philly.
Stay connected with all the action. Follow JRM Sports on X, Instagram, and YouTube. Get the latest highlights, exclusive content, and behind-the-scenes moments from your favorite sports. Don't miss a second. Follow us today.
At Laway, we understand the power of personalization. From hats to water bottles, our expert services include screen printing, embroidery, and a variety of promotional items. We also specialize in team sports gear. What truly sets Laway apart is our dedicated design team, including our talented on-staff graphic designers and exponential customer service. Choose Laway to make a lasting impression on and off the field.
This fall, D3 College Football returns to KDKA Plus as we showcase matchups from across the President's Athletic Conference. The season kicks off with Washington and Jefferson facing Utica on September 6th at noon, only on KDKA Plus.
Support staff and parents who guided them along the way. The reunion is tomorrow night at St. Clair Country Club, and anyone looking for more information is encouraged to connect on Facebook.
All right, we're back again here at Panther Stadium. I have Pat Ory next to me. I am Gavin Williams, and the Panthers lead 21-6 at half. You know, Pat, the game seemed to go kind of two different ways. The Panthers came out like gangbusters, 14-0 lead at the end of the first quarter. Bethel really showed signs of life, 14-6, had the ball, turned it over. Panthers scored late, almost got a second field goal late. So the momentum shifted tangibly multiple times. Panthers get the ball to start the second half. You know, what were kind of your thoughts, your takeaway from the first half, and then sort of as it impacts, us starting here in the third quarter?
Well, I thought the Panthers really did a heck of a job coming out. They really put the Hawks in a bad spot right at it. You know, this is what you want to do at home in a big rivalry game. And they came out and got a couple of quick scores in the first quarter. You know, the Hawks had an early gut check, and they came down and they responded. You know, but then they had a great opportunity at the end of the first half to potentially even tie it. And Panthers forced they forced a 3 and out. They got the ball back, and it was like clockwork watching them move down the field. And the Hawks had no response, and you know, here we are, 21-6, and you know, Panthers at this point they're in control. Like there's, you know, if they keep doing what they're doing, I see the Hawks struggling to get back in this game.
And you know, I think from the Panthers' standpoint, you know, the only drive that stalled for them, other than running out of time at the end of the half, was very penalty inflicted. And you wonder if the Panthers don't sort of beat themselves and inflict wounds like that with penalties, turnovers, mistakes, you know, they have to be wondering, can Bethel get stops?
Right. Well, there weren't many. Again, that was, you know, the one drive that there was a stop was, you know, that big third down penalty, and you know, they breathed a little life into the Hawks, and I think that helped them on that next drive. But you know, there really hasn't been a ton of stops. So, you know, that's for Bethel. That's going to be their biggest challenge in the second half. Is they got to probably start forcing a turnover too. We haven't seen any tonight. All right, so I think that if the Hawks were able to generate some turnovers in the second half, it may be a different game. But they're probably gonna need something like that really to turn the tide here.
Well, great lead, and I talk every broadcast, I haven't mentioned it, about the first turnover and what a huge tangible momentum shift that is. It will be very interested to see if that happens, assuming there is a turnover. The Panthers have been really good last 2 seasons of the turnover differential. You know, we'll see how that goes. So they're going to put it back in play. This is the Hawks left to right on your screen in their road whites. Panthers in their home blacks going right to left on your screen. Jackson puts it in play. Pretty good kick. This is Josh Schneider. Dangerous with the ball in his hands at his own 5. He's at the 20, 25, 30. Oh, he finds a gap. Here comes Schneider. He's at the 40. He cuts it to the outside across midfield to the 40. And he is all the way down to the Hawk 35. Great start to the half for the Panthers.
Wow.
Snyder's been nice tonight, hasn't he? Is there a flag down?
I didn't see any.
I didn't either. Was it a sideline warning, maybe?
Great. They really blocked that well, and Snyder, he found a nice team.
Sideline warning.
Okay.
Upper St. Clair.
Yeah, sideline warning. They got a little too hyped to get back, Coach. I don't know if that's Coach Krem, our strength coach. The man, he's the man. Coach Krem, if that's you got to be the get back coach. Come on.
That's a huge play by the sophomore. It was interesting there. It's not like he was exploding there. I think he was really patient. He waited for the blocks to kind of reveal themselves, and then, once he saw the seam, he was gone.
He has great athletic instincts, and he doesn't even look like he's running fast. He's got beautiful strides, very fluid.
What a great start.
So here's Hellman. This is Dante Corey up the middle. Oh, he gashed him hard there. Dante Corey to the 20. He breaks another tackle almost to the 15. Boy, the two backs right now, the two-headed monster for the Panthers has been really effective so far.
Panthers, they came out here with their hair on fire.
Maybe he did give a render speech. Panthers going tempo again here. This is Dante Corey. Cuts to the outside. Uh-oh. That's not going anywhere, and that's going to be a loss. So the Hawks do a really nice job. Charlie Simmons, we've called that name a bunch. Excellent on the outside. Tyler Miller, number 22, so finishes the play. So about a loss of 2, so much better there. And we got a flag down, too. I didn't see. Did you see it?
I didn't see. I did not.
Defense. 5-yard penalty.
Boy, so
play first down.
That's a big play for if you're a Panther fan, because they had a loss there. They had them off schedule. You get to repeat first down, and it's a 5-yard, one of the non-egregious face masks. So
just handing it right back to the Panthers.
Yeah, there have been more mistakes by both teams in terms of flags and things than either team has really had most of the games I've watched so far. So, yeah, I guess it's a rivalry game and emotions run hot.
I think Junk keeps it on the ground here.
Don't know what's happening. It looks like they might be having a spot issue. While we're at it, I want to give a shout-out to some of the we got 2 classes having reunions this weekend. Class of 95. Man, 30 years. I can't believe it. I don't want to do the math because that means I got to do my own math. But shout-out to those guys, and class of 2000 as well. This is Hellman. Oh, it's a shovel pass. This is Durazio looking for a seam. He gets it. He's inside the 10 to about the 9 or 8. It's going to be close to a first down. Nice little. There's been so much misdirection from the Panthers tonight. It's got to be a fairly hard offense to diagnose, I would think.
Yeah, Judd's pretty creative with what he comes up with. I think he just he likes to keep them guessing, and when you've got the athletes to do it with, you can.
So Corey's not going to get anything there. He's actually going to lose one. That looked like almost like a broken play. The handoff didn't look clean as a result. That's going to be about a 1-yard loss. Charlie Simmons, we're calling his name a lot. He's really been disruptive in terms of getting into the backfield tonight.
Yeah, he's having a nice game. I think McGuire was there too.
He busted it.
He's having a nice season. He's got a few offers. He'll be playing on Saturdays as well.
So this is 3rd and 2. They went from 2nd and 1 to 3rd and 2. This is going to be a big play here for the Panthers. And they are going to Corey again, and he's got nothing. Oh, no, wow. Did he sneak through that pile? He did. That's going to almost be that's going to be close to a first down. It looked like he was dead to rights, and Sabatos got him to the ground, but not before he may have gotten to that lead stick.
A lot of bodies there. No one really seemed to stop his progress, and we'll see if they bring out the sticks, but no.
It's going to be first and goal. Wow.
Big play.
So Dante Corey, I will say this. I'm up in the weight room a decent bit with those guys. His legs are crazy strong for a kid who's not a huge natural package. So that's a big play. Just great individual effort from Dante. So first and goal from the 8. Durazio again, the pitch to the middle. Good block from Sanderson. But, boy, did they get down. Did he lose the ball?
Hawks are saying they have it. Ref's winding it. Nope.
Looks like Drew Sanderson, number 10, came up with it, but I couldn't tell who that was, but Durazio got popped, and he has these surest hands on the football team, so he must have gotten popped. Let's see if we can see it here. Boy, he got popped.
That ball came squirting.
Sabatos. Boy, the Panthers were very fortunate. Is that a great look, by the way? Yeah. JRM production team, great look there. We get some great replays from the JRM folks, and that was top shelf. Great replay there.
That's a home field bounce right there. Wow.
Sure is.
Hawks could have used that one.
All right, Durazio's in motion this time. Now it's the inside handoff. This is Banbury on. He's in. That's the same play they scored on the other end for the first touchdown. That misdirection where they follow the man in motion, and, boy, they just gashed him again. Great stuff from Coach Junko.
Once again, untouched all the way into the end zone. No, this is what Johnny does well. He's just a downhill runner. He sees the holes, and he's been doing that for a long time. I watched this kid when he was at St. Louis as a fourth grader all the way up until now, and I'm sure his older brothers are going to be pretty proud of what they see.
Well, it's funny that we mentioned that. That's another good segue because at halftime I had to make a little trip down to the stands and ran into my main man, Luke Banbury. So Luke is on his bye week. We talked about how he's leading the CAA in tackles for William & Mary. It was great to see the Banimal. He was a mainstay on our 2021 Whitfield Championship basketball team, known more for his hitting, but dude could flat out hoop. He was a bucket. Had a 30-point playoff game against Seneca Valley. Could really, really play. He was an undersized 5, toughest kid you will ever want to be around, and that's something he and his brother have in common. John Banbury won a Whitfield Championship in 2024 with the Panther basketball team, so they both got rings. And a happy birthday to John Banbury, apparently. This is what I learned at halftime. So you guys think I'm just enjoying halftime and taking a break? I'm doing some scouting and some research. Happy birthday to Johnny Banbury. I'm glad you got in the end zone tonight. 28-6, the Panthers lead.
Yeah, John was, as a sophomore last year, was really instrumental in that Hawks win on the road, and I think there were some injury problems, right? I think Nico was out then, and they really relied heavily on him in that game, and he had some, both offensively and defensively, he made some big plays, and in a rivalry game like this, it's not really what you're expecting the sophomore to do, right? And he's not the most physically imposing guy either. He's a strong kid, but he's not 6'3", 230 like his brother.
He is so smart, though.
But he can play football.
He's the guy I go to. I laugh. I always go to guys for scouting reports to sort of get tidbits during the week. He's the first guy I talk to because he's watched film. He knows, and he knows all the players and all what I love getting tendencies from him. Makes my broadcast better. Just a great kid.
Some guys just have a natural, they just have a natural disposition to football. They just see the game moves differently for them. They see it differently.
So they're going to go short here. Squib kick from, and boy, they did not handle it well. Dennison is going to get it. He's got some space here. He gets through a gap, gets to about the 26, so no real advantage to that. But that looked like a designed squib for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think so. Well, they wanted to, I think he wanted to avoid kicking it to Dennison again. And the Hawks still got it to him, but
didn't really have a head of steam.
When the coverage is already that deep, it's you're starting at the 26 is probably as good as you're going to do.
Yeah, this is certainly a big drive for the Hawks right now. I'd be interested to see if they keep sort of doing what they've been doing, or they let Devine air it out because all of a sudden they're down 3 scores. This is Dennison, and he's got a big gap off tackle. Really well blocked.
Okay.
Caffrey Duplessis and John Banbury are going to get him to the ground, but not for a gain of 11 or 12. That's a good sign for the Hawks on first down.
It is, and they're 0 for 1 in what we talked about at halftime, right? They needed to make a stop on that first drive, and they didn't do it, right? And now it puts a little more pressure on them offensively, but they're not giving up on Dennison yet, right? There's still enough time, and again, you see this kid can break one at any time, so you have to be. The Panthers have to stay pretty vigilant and get bodies on him still because the Hawks are going to keep going to him.
That was definitely better for the Panthers. That was Will Stoll. Tough to be a sophomore nose. I think Will Stoll does a great job, as a sophomore in the nose. And then Anthony Bunn cleaned up, who's got something in common with my co-host, was a St. Clair grad who played football at Dartmouth, class of 97, Bobby Bunn. So good bloodlines there. This is Devine. Boy, that looked like a hold right there. Oh, they got it. But that did not stop Beck Shields. He's going to throw it. Oh, that's a really ill-advised decision. Here comes Randy in. Are they going to say he was already out of bounds? So what's the issue here? Hold on. Why on earth would they blew the whistle before he was even out of bounds? I am really confused what is happening right now. Is it an inadvertent whistle?
Inadvertent whistle. We're going to replay second down.
Oops.
Do you not even get the benefit of the hold? That is a huge momentum shift because they had a hold in the backfield on that play. So there was the hold. Beck Shields had him.
Wow,
and
huge break.
Wow.
Not only do they lose the penalty, they lose the turnover. And it's back to second down and 7.
Via spot also applies. Second down.
Oops. Well, that's not a home field whistle, that's for sure.
So are they getting the benefit of the holding call? Because the hold happened before the inadvertent whistle?
It looks like it. They're bringing them back.
Okay, that's not as bad. I mean, yes, it would have been a big momentum shift on the pick, but because I think you have to give them the benefit of the hold only because that happened before the inadvertent whistle. Yeah. So regardless of what happened with the play, they would have gotten the benefit of that. That to me, that's only fair. I don't know the rule.
I wonder if the ref thought he stepped out.
Well, if he thought he stepped out of bounds, they should lose the down. It should be third down. So 2nd and 17 to me suggests it's a 10-yard hold because it was 2nd and 7 after the 3-yard run by Dennison. I have no idea. It's going to be a timeout on Bethel. So I'm sure the Panther coaches have got to be out of their mind because they forced the first turnover. Huge splash play. Randy Ann was free too. I don't know.
Hey, it depends on your perspective, but that's the benefit of high school football. There's no review. It's like, hey, we made the call.
No, look, guys are going to make mistakes. I'm not going to be overly critical here. I'll give some shout-outs then. Josh McIntyre, watching with his kids around the fire. J Mac, you're my man. Thanks for checking in. I hope I did not jinx Jacobo as you suggested in the first half, but love you guys. Hope to see you soon. There's nobody who compliments my broadcast, no matter how bad I might be on a given night, than my mom. Thank you. She said we sound very energetic, knowledgeable, and lively. So shout out to both me and Pat, and a shout out to my loving mom. I love you, Mom. Thank you for being my biggest fan. Also saw my dad down in the stands at halftime, which is awesome. And then, what a shout out here. To get a shout out from the great reigning Freilich Award winning Princeton Freshman of the Week, Nate Stoll, on my broadcast is a treat. Love you, Big Nate. So proud of you.
Well done, Nate.
All right, 2nd and 17. Fakes. Here they're going to go upfield. Oh, he's got a man wide open up the slot. Boy,
he's gone.
Talk about a momentum shift. There it was. That is Santino Novoselic. Touchdown, Hawks. Wow. Dang. So 62 yards. And just like that, Pat, the momentum of high school sports.
Well, you know, Phil Peckich is going to take chances when he can. They got a huge momentum swing right there with that turnover coming back, and he took a few seconds to think about it and said, hey, we're going to dial up something a little different here. And, man, Novoselic was running. He was running free, and great ball by Devine, and Hawks are back in this one. Well,
I'll tell you what, from a Panther perspective, on 2nd and 17, you just can't let that happen. Yeah. He was wide open. And, they're going to go for 2 here because we talked about the missed extra point. Trying to get down. No, oh, man, did they fill the hole there. Was that Banbury?
Man. Well, here we talked about that missed extra point in the first half. I'm like, now you're down 16. You got to get 2, and you can't do it. But
so 28-12 now. Again, that's big because they'd have to get 2 2-point conversions. Yeah. But
now,
okay, so here we are in Upper St. Clair. We're doing a little highlight package here. That is Dante Corey struck first to score in the first quarter to Panthers lead 7-0. That is John Banbury there getting across Pater. It was 14-0 Panthers early. Bethel Park came back. That is Evan Devine throwing to Charlie Simmons. Got him within 14-6. They missed the extra point. But towards the end of the first half, little inside handoff. That is John Banbury getting right up the middle to give the Panthers a 28-12 lead, but just a minute ago, after an overturned interception, they go deep down the field. Devine to Santino Novosevich, 28-12. The Upper St. Clair Panthers lead the Blackhawks, 6:55 to go in the third quarter.
Well, a lot of football left to play here, so the Hawks still showing some signs of life there. That was a great throw.
Yeah, I mean,
great throw.
It just goes to show you, man, high school sports has these just crazy momentum shifts because you're dealing with kids. And, they thought they had a pick, they thought they had a big play and didn't get it, and all of a sudden they let up for 1 second, and Hawks are back into it. Good up man, Drew Sanderson gets it and gets out to the 38. Again, good field position.
Great field position.
It's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't right now, because when they kicked it deep, he almost took it to the house, and maybe that's better than that.
Yeah, I mean, you just have to trust your kicking team to make stops and coach them up to make stops. Like, letting the team start at the 37 isn't exactly a win, right? Like,
it is absolutely not.
and the Hawks they've struggled with that in previous years. It's just you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball, your defense, on a lot of series.
All right, so the Panthers here. Another man in motion. We've seen some version of this play a lot, and that's Dante Corey. He's broken open. He's got the 50-40. He's at the 30. He could go. 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Dante Corey. What a big response for the Panthers. He goes 67 yards.
Wow. Just like that.
Wow, so if the Hawks thought they had momentum back, a simple delay off tackle, and Dante goes the whole way. And look at this extra gear he has this year.
Yeah, that was blocked. That was blocked so well, and he had some patience. He hit out behind his big lineman, and as soon as that hole revealed itself, he was gone. Wow!
I cannot speak highly enough of the Upper St. Clair offensive line tonight.
What a response!
Well, it's incredible.
Yeah,
All right, so the Panthers are going to go for 2 here. That must be one of those who looked at the card and there's a weird score or something. This is Corey up the middle, and he gets in easily. So it's going to be 36-12. I've never quite understood how all the math works. I'm assuming somebody has a card on the sideline.
I mean, when you're up that much, I just presume kick the extra point when you know it's almost guaranteed. But yeah, they got it anyway, and once again they put the Hawks behind the 8 ball.
Boy, the Panther offensive line, when Reese Perrine, their most experienced and arguably their best offensive lineman, got hurt and was out for the year, I heard a lot of people say, boy, I'm worried about this line. And then, they have some, obviously, Mason Geyer's a stud.
Yeah.
Chase Kismarzik played a good bit last year. So there were some guys, and Ryan Robbins is a talented guy. Grady Elias has been great. But how they have filled in tonight with, Jamie Gardner at the tackle and Kenneth Davis. Kenny Davis has been terrific. He's not even playing in his natural position tonight. He moved to the guard squad. He's been tremendous. So kudos to the Panthers offensive line. Coach Robbins, great stuff.
Exactly. I think that's really what Upper St. Clair's always prided itself on. Next man up has always done a great job, and it's just always had really, really sound coaching. And
so they're going to go deep. It's going to be another returnable one. I don't know. I feel like Jacobo's a lot. He broke a tackle. Here we go.
Broke it.
This is Jacobo.
One more to go.
Jacobo did get him down.
Wow.
He's an athlete, not just a kicker punter, but boy, big gain all the way to the St. Clair 40. This is kind of the fireworks I was expecting tonight, but boy, give Dennison a lot of credit because he skipped through a tackle. I couldn't tell who it was, but they looked like they had him with good lanes, good pursuit, and he just ran right through him. That is a big, strong kid.
Well, I'm surprised he couldn't break that last one. I think he was sort of hesitating between, well, do I knock this kid, try to run through this kid, or do I try to sneak by him at the sidelines? And
so Yeah, so, okay. Sorry, we had some technical difficulties here. I think we're good now. And here come the Hawks. They're going to fake the end around, fake the handoff, and no, they got a man down the field here. It's Santino again, and Jones had to interfere. He nice little play call. It looked like a deep post there, and he had him beat. And I guess you are going to take a 15-yard penalty as opposed to a touchdown. But the Hawks have something going here on offense, I think, Pat.
Defense number 1, 15-yard penalty,
so,
first down.
As I was saying before, Pekic is going to keep digging deeper into the playbook. He kind of lives for these moments. He loves trying some different things out on offense, and they went a little razzle dazzle there. There was some trickery in the backfield, and Novoselic got behind his man, and it was there. He had to corral him.
So Bryce Jones is down, number 1. That's certainly an issue for the Panthers. Their fastest player, a guy who starts both ways. It'll be interesting to see. The Panthers do have a good bit of depth at the receiver corner spot, but not as many guys who can run like Bryce. It looks like Bryce is up and seems to be walking off the field okay, but not what you want to see for the Panthers when you have 2 threats like we've seen. I mean, Sabatos, Novoselic, those dudes can run, and they've been very, very threatening in the passing game. So Panthers want to have all of their weapons in the defensive backfield for sure.
Yeah, those guys have both really stepped up this year. Again, they've been on the field. Will was a first-year starter last year as a sophomore on defense, and Novoselic's been playing since he was a freshman. He's now a junior, and those guys they're no strangers to big moments, and this is kind of their year to both step up, and you're seeing it. So.
Yeah, when you're replacing Orion Petrus, like that doesn't come easy. He's already starring at Duquesne, which doesn't surprise anybody.
Yeah, you don't replace that guy. He was a special talent. He was really like a once every 20, 30 years type of guy. I mean, he could flat out burn. He was probably one of the fastest guys at Whip Hills, if not the fastest. And he had offers to almost 20 schools last year, and ended up at Duquesne, and he's already if there weren't 5 or 6 senior wide receivers playing in front of him, he'd be putting up even bigger numbers there. But he's already got 4 touchdowns and a handful of games, and on maybe 6 or 7 touches. That's how explosive he is. So
I was impressed right there with Devine. That's a really mature decision. Bunn was in his kitchen, and he dumped it down, took what the defense gave him, and you talked about getting Dennison the ball in the passing game. Yeah. Now, that's not what we had in mind, obviously, but it might help to get him in space some. But he's a weapon, in a lot of different aspects. So, nothing I've seen from Evan Devine that I haven't been impressed with.
No, that's what he's like. You look at him and you're like, man, this guy, he must have been, this must be his second, third year under center, and this is his first time out there as a varsity quarterback, and he's just rolled into it, rolled into the season like he's been doing it his whole life. He looks as good as Hellman and DeLucia from Peters Township almost, and those guys have been doing it since they were sophomores, freshmen.
Yeah, and I'll say this, it is not easy to play the quarterback position. Let's not kid ourselves. And so, to come in without experience, without getting the reps, and to be as good as he's been is really impressive. He got that out quickly. That's going to be a screen.
Nice move.
Panthers did not tackle the catch very well. Came up, Yan did not quite get him to the ground. That's Brady Bruckner. We haven't talked much about Brady Bruckner tonight, who was their leading tackler coming in.
Yep.
But
quiet on the offensive side for sure. But his brother Jack is at Carnegie Mellon this year. He was all conference for the Hawks last year, a 3-year starter at wide receiver and cornerback, and a big part of that team last year. So, he's now getting his turn out there.
Also a hooper. A lot of Bethel hoopers out here playing on the gridiron as well. Love those multi-sport guys. Dennison's going to get in easy there. So, pretty impressive response there from the Hawks. Nice 3:45 to go in the third quarter. They're going to get it within 18 here. Be interested to see what they do, whether they kick an extra point or not. Right now, they're going to have to really focus on getting some stops, because this has turned into kind of the shootout we expected, Pat.
Yeah. This is It's actually kind of more points than I thought either team would put up. I thought there'd be a little more D in a rivalry game like this, but you just saw the training wheels kind of come off the Hawks offense. Pekic is like, all right, we've got limited time and a lot of ground to make up, and he's letting these guys play football.
All right, so this is the 2-point conversion try. Dennison in the backfield. Devine in the pistol. It is Dennison. He's going right up the middle. They're going to try to push him in. Could not tell at all, to be honest, from this angle. It didn't look like he got it. The line tried to push him forward. I just don't think he got to the lead mark. He did not, and so, again, it's been the special team stuff has been all Panthers tonight, and that, in terms of how the points have gone, it's been about 5 or 6 points now with a couple missed tries. Panthers got a 2-point conversion. That matters.
Well, it's still a 3-possession game now. These missed extra points are killing them. But 18-point deficit when it should be only 15 or 14.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference.
You don't get that extra possession back this late in the game, so they need to force a turnover or two here to really have a chance to come back here. I don't, with the way the Panthers have been controlling the clock and the football, I just don't think there's enough time unless they start making something happen defensively.
Well, the first turnover is still in play.
Yep.
We gotta give a shout out to our game sponsor. I have not done that yet. So Coker Law, tonight's game sponsor. They're a Jacksonville, Florida-based elite trial firm with nearly 50 years of experience fighting for the seriously injured. With 19 attorneys, 11 of which are board certified in civil trial law, including an Upper St. Clair alum, shareholder, and board certified trial attorney Dan Iraqi, who's also a former Panther, class of 2001. Coker Law leads North Florida with the most board certified trial attorneys. Coker Law handles complex personal injury cases and has recovered hundreds of millions of dollars for clients across Florida and beyond. Coker Law is proud to support Upper St. Clair High School football and the champions on and off the field. So thank you to Coker Law. Thank you to Dan Iraqi for supporting the program still from afar. So they went with the short kick again, and Drew Sanderson is hobbling a little bit coming off the field. Panthers have tons of depth at the receiver spot, but it will be interesting to see who comes in the slot because Sanderson is not only, you don't usually have that kind of size and speed in the slot, but he's a great blocker too. It's almost like having a wing-back tight end who has receiver speed. So hopefully Drew gets healthy. Now he's going to stay out there. He's a tough kid. He's from Canada.
Well, Panthers with great field position again to start another drive.
It'd be interesting to see if they keep going tempo. It's kind of what they do. Obviously, you would like to run clock, I guess. But, now they're empty set here. Super interesting. There's Sanderson. Well, no rest for the weary. Sanderson down, quick slant, got to get right to that lead stick.
Great quick read there by Hellman. They lined up. He saw there was a huge cushion there on the slot and pitch and catch.
Yeah, 5 wide here. This is not what I expected to see this drive, only because we've run the ball so well lately. But they're staying aggressive, keeping with tempo. Now Dante's coming in motion, though. Now we got to fake it to Dante. Quick slant again, Durazio, pitch and catch. It's almost the same thing, Pat. They're giving him 10 yards on a quick slant.
It's a little surprising to see them, going empty set and slinging it.
I'm shocked, honestly.
I mean, the clock's moving, but these are.
Yan's going to get probably 9 or 10 on the quick. I guess these are real simple, quick throws, like as good as a run, but yeah. I'm just glad Jim's not up here. I don't need to get the side-eye looks from him. Start getting Rex Kern stories about 2 things bad can happen out of the 3 passing options. This is Ethan again. Now he's going to fake this. Now another quick slant. Boy, he is wide open. That's Logan Lipinski, the senior, and he's going to get 15 or 20 there. Man, it's just I guess when you have a senior quarterback who you trust this much with decision making and accuracy, you just let him go, I guess.
That's exactly it. This kid's a veteran. He trusts his wide receivers. Obviously Junko has a ton of trust in him as a quarterback. He's like, hey, we're going to play. We're not going to just run out this clock. We're going to keep playing football.
I'd love it. I'd be a hypocrite if I was critical of it because, you see a lot of basketball coaches who love to, run 2-minute possessions when they're behind the – we don't do that. we go play, we go score, we want to go score more points, and I love that attitude.
And I got to say, if I'm Hellman right now, I'm loving this too, right? He's leading Whitfield in passing. He's like, I don't want to hand it off right now. We're up big. Like, trust me to close this out, Coach.
And he is. I'll tell you what, it's another nice throw. Hit Dante Corey on a nice slant there, and they're rolling again. This is Durazio. Nope, they've scored on this play a bunch. And if I'll tell you what, if Dante didn't fall, he may have scored again.
Dante Corey submarines his way to the 9-yard line.
Well, is there something that just how multiple the offense has been, Pat, in terms of like not giving them a lot of similar looks and things? Is that what has Bethel on their heels so much, or is this just really great execution from the Panthers?
Well, I think that fatigue is starting to play a big part of it. I mean, at this point, but they've. I think a lot of what there's been some different looks, but I mean, this is what Upper St. Clair runs every week. You kind of know who's going to get the ball, what to expect, and I think they're just playing better football tonight.
Interesting.
They're just playing better. I mean, guys are open. We're still not really seeing any pressure on Hellman.
No, and that was one of our keys, wasn't it? You are absolutely right. I hadn't even thought about that.
Yeah.
But he's had all day, and he's gotten the ball out quick, but no, I mean, they really haven't. So 3rd and 2 here as we wind down the end of the third quarter. It's Dante Corey. He's going to get in easy. Look at that line search. Look where Geyer and Gardner and Davis and Kazmarzik are. They're in the end zone with him.
And
really impressive stuff.
Well, and to your point, the guys we haven't talked much about are the offensive line, and they've been pretty dominant tonight.
Look at Mason Geyer.
They've been pretty dominant tonight. I mean, these holes have been huge for these running backs. Again, no pressure on Hellman. I mean, that all starts with the offensive line, and when your guys are playing that well, and like, it's fun to be a skill player. It's a lot of fun. I mean, like Bethel stop, they didn't make a single stop there. That was just flat-out domination by Upper St. Clair the entire drive.
No, they weren't even really that close to getting the stop. So Jacobo adds the extra point. Panthers lead 43-18, and if we sound surprised at the margin here, I think it's because we both are surprised. Now, granted, if you looked at just sort of the stuff coming in, St. Clair's had more impressive margins of victory, stuff like that, but it hasn't been striking the difference. And we know the personnel. It's a rivalry game. It is surprising that the margin is this big. I don't think we can hide that, really.
Yeah, and well, because these are two teams that are every year, and this year's no different, right? They're playoff teams, right? They're fighting for one of the playoff berths, right? And you get 3 automatic out of this conference, and right now, Peters is out in front, right? And I don't see anyone beating them at this point. I mean, Bethel's, after tonight, I don't see them being in that game, right? So then you've got 2 other spots, and, Upper St. Clair already has a loss. Bethel had a loss, and, Moon is still in the hunt, right? So you've got those 3 teams all kind of jockeying for those 2 spots, and this is a huge like statement by Upper St. Clair tonight. Like, hey, yeah, we kind of gave one away to Peters a little bit, right? I thought Upper St. Clair had a lot of opportunity in that game, and I'm sure that it's still a little raw with them. And they're like, look, this is another big conference game. We need to come out and take care of business. And they really are the better team tonight. They look prepared, and they're just executing. It's good Upper St. Clair football right here.
All right, so this could be the last play of the third quarter here if it's a run. This is Dennison. He's going to go wide. Shields almost gets to the ground, couldn't get him. Banbury cleans him up, but not before about a 6 or 7 yard gain. So pretty good stuff from the Hawks on first down, but that's going to be 3 quarters of play in the books. The Panthers 43-18 lead so far. Offensive explosion from Upper St. Clair. Very impressive stuff so far for the Panthers. So we're going to look at the upcoming schedules here because Pat just sort of alluded to something important. this conference is up for grabs still. Even if you think Peters is going to win this, and probably people do think that, Upper St. Clair has a really tough one at Moon next week, and then obviously a walk at Baldwin to finish the season. I'm not even sure Baldwin will have numbers to play that game, but do not overlook Moon next week. And Peters is up 17-7 on South Fayette at half, so that is a nice segue to Bethel Park's next two games. Bethel Park has South Fayette, who, seeing both of them, I think Bethel is better, but not by far. And then obviously the Peters Township Indians, who are the absolute odds-on favorite here to win the conference. So the road does not get any easier for the Hawks, and the Panthers got a really tough one next week. So, Pat, when you're dealing with rivalry games, which this conference is almost exclusively rivalry games, is it tough, do you think, to get up every single week like this? Or is football different in that it's one game a week? You ought to be able to really get your emotional level up every time you step out there.
I think this is the funnest part of high school football. And, the part of it that is almost disappointing is these early games where that are mismatches, and you're winning by 40, 50 points, and it's like your starters are only playing a half or three-quarter. Like, you barely get into a rhythm and the game is over, and it's like, they're great for stats and whatever, but it's like you're not really tested. That like you're not really getting like the full like emotion and impact of the game, because it's like we were supposed to beat this team by a lot and we did, right? These are the games that are fun, right? Like you're matched up against a good team. There's a history there. Like these guys all know each other.
Oh, absolutely.
They all know each other, and it's back in our day, this was the battle of the Fort Couch McDonald's.
It still was for us. For us. There'd be fights in the drive-through line. So he's going to throw again here. Oh, Stoll got him, but he still got it off. And it's going to be incomplete. And thank God, I think Santino had a step again, but Will Stoll did a really nice job getting in the backfield, disrupting the throw. He just sort of threw it up in the air because he had no time.
Divine, that was a pretty good throw considering the pressure he was under.
Oh, it definitely was.
He just didn't. He just couldn't quite get it there.
Well, he couldn't plant. I mean, you got a guy. But I love, these guys all know each other. I mean, these are the people you'll see the rest of your lives. You'll be telling these stories, the rest of your lives. I still see my Bethel and Lebo buddies from my years, and we still talk about this stuff. So, bragging rights in these games are paramount, and this is the games you really want to win. Yeah,
I'll never forget, and I talked about it earlier. We had Lebo in our final game my senior year, and it was for the conference championship. We were both undefeated coming in. They were number 4 in the country at the time. It was like a grinded-out 14-0 game that –
I was at that game.
And I'm sure Coach Render remembers it, but he's like his post-game comments was, we won the game with punting because Junk was booming balls, pinning them deep, and then on our side we were playing defense and they were kicking it back, and we were fielding it or fair catching it, and we kept moving it at the margins, and we ended up outlasting them in the end.
I guess they're going to go for it. Well, I guess they have to.
Oh yeah.
Oh, boy, he had a man and he overthrew him. That's maybe the first sort of little wild throw we've seen from Devine, and it was unfortunate because he had a man, and that's going to turn it over on downs there. He had Bruckner on what was a fairly easy pitch and catch there.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Let's see what Junk starts to. I think now he starts to reel it in here.
Yeah, pound it a little.
He may even be looking for some different guys to start touching the ball.
Yeah, probably. I mean, you certainly don't want to get people hurt. So you obviously played in some huge games in your high school career. I have such great memories of that stuff. You've mentioned a couple. What's probably the biggest memory? Was it winning states? Was your sophomore year with your brother? Was it beating that North Hills team, routing them in the stadium?
There was, that year was unbelievable. It's hard to even put it into words. There were so many unbelievable moments. Obviously winning the state championship was huge. We beat Kerry Collins, who went on to be a great NFL quarterback.
Yeah, Westlawn Wilson.
And in 14-degree weather on frozen grass in Hershey, he was throwing frozen ropes across the field. That game obviously was big, but my greatest memory of that year was probably the North Hills game in week 4.
The Sports Channel USA game with the Bender brothers.
Yep. And so we came out with, they had multiple Division I guys on offense, including the quarterback and his twin brother wide receiver. And they got up on us, and we tried to, we were playing a little bit of a gimmick defense that week. And it wasn't what we did, right? And guys were out of position, and we weren't flowing. And so we go in at half, and Coach Render, he was like kind of the shade of what these guys are wearing on their sleeve, right? Maybe a little more on the purple side of what Josh Snyder's wearing on his arms. And he just went crazy and was like, "We're going back to base defense. We're going back to," and that was it. And we came out in the second half and probably had 3 or 4 sacks. We forced a turnover, a couple turnovers, and late in the game we were down 26-21, and Doug Whaley went off tackle. Well, it was like belly up, old school belly up, and busted through and broke one tackle, and he basically was like tripping over himself. He was so tired all the way into the end zone, and that was the decisive score. And it was, back in those days, North Hills they were Whitfield football.
Yeah, 87, they were basically the national champs.
They were national champs. They were nationally ranked every year. Like, they were the team in Whitfield. Like, Martirelli Stadium, it doesn't get any better than that in Whitfield. And back in those days, it was like, that place was jammed to the rim. They had a 3-story teepee in the one end zone with the horsemen that came out with the
spear,
the headdress and the flaming spear. And
Elman's just unbelievable right now.
This is so easy.
The way he's backing up and using that pocket space and just throwing absolute darts, that's D'Orazio in the end zone. It's just
too easy.
No, Mac McCardle's one of my best friends, and he's been the gold standard for a long time at quarterback. I've never seen anybody have a season like this kid is having.
They're giving him so much time.
Oh, they are. He has all day.
Tons of credit to the offensive line, and he's experienced enough. You give him that opportunity to throw the ball, and he's going to make you pay most of the time.
Well, his stats were video game stuff coming in, and it's going to be no ebb of that.
He's got to be pushing 250. I'm thinking, right?
He's thrown very few incompletions. It's just been clinical, surgical. That is Ethan Hellman this season, and kudos to his receivers who are running great routes. Kudos to his line who's getting him all day. And, Ethan Hellman's a winner. He's a gamer, and he's been just outstanding tonight again, as he has been all season. By the way, we're probably going to keep doing some trips down memory lane here as the game is a bit out of hand. But I give a challenge to the Panthers from that era. I know some of you listen, and I certainly see some of you. I would love to have some of you on the broadcast, and some of you just flat out turn me down, and I understand. But I think some of you should take advantage of this opportunity and embrace your place in Upper St. Clair Panther lore and come on. Whether it's Dougie said he would come on, but he's never around. He's always everywhere.
He's super busy. Yeah.
He is, but he said he would do it. So I hope Dougie will do it. And look, there's a lot of Ori brothers.
Yeah.
Mike doesn't have a son playing for Bethel anymore. He would be eligible by the rules we have. Kevin would be eligible if he's in the other side of the city. But
be careful what you wish for with Mike L.
Yeah, we might have to get a 5-second delay if Mike comes on. But I love, because people tell me, the feedback I get, they love hearing the stories.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people were like me. They grew up in the heyday of Upper St. Clair football. When I was growing up in elementary school, middle school, we expected to go to the stadium because we went almost every year. That's just what we expected.
It was. It absolutely was.
We went all 4 years of my high school career.
Yep.
It's just, I've seen 2 state championship wins in person. I've seen 3 or 4 or 5 Whitfields. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And that is why this program is what it is, because we had people like this who came before us.
Well, it just gets passed on, and growing up in it myself, and you can kind of see it just in games like this. But there's just this attitude that, look, we're going to win, right? You never feel like you can't win, because that's kind of the expectation. There's a confidence there. You know you're going to be prepared, all right? You know you've done everything you needed to do, in the off season and in practice to be ready for Friday nights. And this is the fun part now. We get to go out in front of our friends and our family and have fun out there and make plays and celebrate. And
so that's quick pitch and catch, and good job tackling the catch from Caffrey Duplessis. I'm sure they're in a kind of a bend but don't break situation here, because they have gotten gashed deep a couple times, but good throw from Devine. Yeah, I can't say enough about Coach Junko and his staff. You never know your first sign of adversity in a season how the response is going to be, and the response has been fabulous the last 2 weeks. Team has looked really sharp, really prepared, and I think there's something also to be said for having a guy who played here who really is aware of this tradition.
Yeah.
And Mike's done a really nice job of continuing it. Boy, that is another bomb deep downfield. Boy, nice job to play that ball at its height by Snyder. Bruckner almost came down with it, but good stuff from Josh Snyder.
High point. Another great throw by Devine. He put it where only Bruckner could catch it, and he couldn't come down with it.
He can make all the throws too. Yeah. That is a long throw.
He's a big, tall kid with a nice arm. What's impressed me most with him this year, again, his pocket presence and really his touch. He puts it in the right place. It's almost like Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't look like he can do it. He's kind of like this wiry, skinny guy. Next thing you know, he's throwing this perfect ball into, to the sideline or, only where his guy can catch it. Did he just do that?
It comes out beautifully. It really does. So first down there, Shields brings him down, but not for a couple-yard gain. Mike McKenzie's talking about going to Altoona for the state semifinals. Was always the best, playing at Mansion Field or Mansion Stadium or whatever. I loved that place.
That was fun. Well, we stayed overnight in Altoona, and that was probably more fun than the game because we blew those guys out. But for us sophomores, it really, we were more just practice bodies back then. We were just along for the ride, and we had a blast.
Yeah, I've seen some really cool football games. I'll tell you what was a cool state semifinal game was the 2006 team that won states.
Yep.
Their semifinal game when one of my players, Taylor Everett, took a punt that everybody thought was dead, but nobody downed it, and he sneaked up and took it like 65 yards, and that ended up being the game-winning score in like a blizzard. It was 14-7. That's the stuff for me that sort of stands out. These great Upper St. Clair memories. This is Dennison out of the backfield. Boy, nice job there. Dante Corey getting a little time on defense and stuck him good. But seeing these things, seeing the winning tradition, the great memories and stuff, that really does perpetuate itself. And I like that to come across on the podcast because I want the young people who are listening with their parents right now to understand the pride and the tradition of Upper St. Clair football, because at the end of the day, I'm a St. Clair football fan, and I want this to be great every year.
It's a great tradition. We've carried it on a long time, and it's not stopping. This train is not stopping. A lot of programs it does, and you're like, what happened there? They used to be great, and they were always the team to beat, and now they're struggling. There goes DD.
Here's Snyder. Can he get him down? So
nice
it was the
tackle.
wheel route, and Dante Corey just misjudged it. He looked like he knew what was coming, and he came over, and it just went over his head. Because the way he broke on the football there made it look like he was going to get a pick six, but it was really a beautiful throw by Devine.
Yeah, Devine with the touch, he put it right in there. They do that wheel route a lot with the running back. So Devine put it, he knew where to put this ball.
This is my dad's favorite play.
Little throwback.
Back out of the backfield. My dad talks about it constantly. He says it's really difficult to cover. Now Miller's not going to get in, but So, I mean, Bethel's offense has not been the problem tonight. Let's not kid ourselves. I mean, okay. I mean, this will be if they score here, that'll be the 4th touchdown they've scored tonight. Yeah, that should be good enough to be a competitive game.
And that will be the most they've given up this season.
Good point.
So, yeah, this really came down to defense, and on the Hawk side, they couldn't make stops. Upper St. Clair's offense was it was too potent.
So Dennison's going to get in here. So with 7:30 to go, that's going to bring it to 50-24. And if you bet the over tonight, chances are you are in the money. By the way, I got the 50-50 tonight. Didn't hear that announced. Hopefully,
I saw it on the board.
Yeah, I'll go ask Ben Edwards. I want to go talk to Greg Twardy. Sold it to me, and he's a former Bethel quarterback, so I want to go talk to him about this game afterwards anyway. So Bethel's going to actually kick the extra point this time. They've been chasing points a little bit since the first block. Jackson gets it down, and 50-25 here with 7:29 to play here. And Panthers did use some subs on offense last possession. Luca Corey, the sophomore tailback, came in a little. Be interesting to see if they sub a little bit more liberally here on this possession.
Yeah, I wonder if it's starting to go through Package's head, like we need the onside kick it here, and
I think you have to.
We've got to try to get a few more scores here quick, and the defense doesn't seem to be really creating any opportunities for the offense. So it's gonna, it comes down to special teams to maybe do something here.
Well, it's a math problem, and you're down 4 scores, so the math doesn't work. Particularly, I mean, even if you were getting stops, the math doesn't work. So I can't imagine this won't be an onside kick. St. Clair is acting like it will be. You can tell because the hands team is over there to the far side of the field. You've got Yan, Sanderson, Snyder, Banbury. You got all the guys who probably handle the football the most. How much do you think they practice this? They got to. I assume teams practice this
every week. Yeah, every week they're working on this. At least on Thursdays.
Not bad. Randy Ann's got it. Goes down to the ground, and the Panthers will control it. Yeah, I always laugh because we practice all kinds of situation stuff. Now, granted, it's basketball; it's different. But so people will ask me sometimes after games, like, "Did you guys practice that? Is that something you work on?" Yes, we work on almost every situation you can think of. Like, come on, what do you think we do? Just shoot free throws all day? And football practices are longer than ours, so I'm guessing they work on everything.
Yeah, it's like those guys just didn't magically do that. We've done that 1,000 times. We've worked on that pick and roll, or
end a quarter, down 5 with a minute, up 6 with a minute. Like we do that stuff almost every day.
Yeah,
this stuff doesn't magically happen.
I wouldn't be shocked nowadays if 2-minute drill used to be more of maybe once a week thing, maybe twice. I wouldn't be shocked if they're doing it every day now, because these offenses now are all suited towards it. You're not really like shifting into 2-minute mode. Like if you watch it all, like there are no huddles anymore. I haven't seen a huddle really on either side tonight, and it's like they're going. Guys are lining up, they're signaling the play, they're looking at their wristbands, and they're going. So it's really like nonstop 2-minute drill. It's really just how long you waiting till you line up, and how long is the snap count, and how much time are you trying to kill. It's
the inside handoff to Durazio again. It's like the shovel pass. He's going to get about 20. So basically a regular run play with Luca Corey for about 11, and Durazio on, let's say, a shovel pass or a center screen for about 20, and the dam's broken.
And again, as Whitfield's leading passer, he loves throwing a little flip forward for 20 yards.
That's a pass.
That's 1-for-1 for 20 yards. Thank you very much, Coach.
I may have been able to complete that one. So it's Hellman again, fakes to Durazio. They love this play. It's Luca Corey again. He may go. He's at the 20, the 15-10. Great cutback. Miller gets him to the ground, but he's all the way down to the 2. So if you wonder sometimes, hey, how many reps do you get? You always are looking forward and working for the future and for injury in case the injuries happen. But when you watch Snyder and Luca Corey, those sophomores, you can see why the Panthers think the future is bright. They have some really good skill positions that are young. Evan Smirnu as well, the receiver. So, hey, hopefully the future's bright for Panther football as well.
Yeah, and the nice thing now with high school football these days is if you're a freshman or a sophomore, you're not buried like 5 deep on the bench and undersized and underprepared. It's these kids are like, they're prepared. They're working out in the off season. They're in the strength and conditioning program right out of the gates, and it allows them to, especially with some of these smaller rosters now, they're able to get on the field early, and your coaches are going to put you there. They're not trying to keep athletes off the field if they don't have to. It's like, we want to win football games. If this guy can help us win, we're putting him out there, or worst case, like, we're getting him as many reps as he can so that he's that guy next year or the following year. So
another touchdown pass for Hellman. I don't know if we're stat padding at this point, but that's Yan, the senior receiver. That's going to take it to 56 with the extra point pending. Jacobo knocks that in, 57-25. I think the other aspect of that is this, Pat. You want to preserve athletes playing your sport, and it's very easy for athletes to say, if I'm not getting on the field early and I feel like I'm talented, there's probably a sport I can find where I can. So, you do also want, we've talked about this repeatedly, I want multi-sport athletes. I love them. I think they come in competitive.
You're not alone.
But, kids get frustrated. They want to play. So you want the best athletes to play your sport. You want to throw them a bone sometimes and say, okay, we'll get you a little taste.
I mean, I would discourage any kid that's thinking that way to, from doing it, because, we'll just take college football, for example. These college coaches, they love multi-sport athletes. They're looking for multi-sport, and they will tell you that. Like, 75 or 80% of, like, first-round draft picks every year are multi-sport athletes. Right? These guys are... They're playing football, but they're also great basketball players. They're also great at track or something else, and it's it's the cross training aspect to it. And some coaches will say, look, like, there's some great football players that really aren't great at other sports, and we kind of want to see how that guy, what he's like as a teammate when he's not the guy. Is he playing his part? Is he working hard in practice? Like, what do his teammates say about him? What do the coaches say about him? And, like, so you've got, like, kind of the cross training part of it, and just the athletic part, but you also have, like, the character part of it. And any college coach will tell you, like, that's what we want. And I've worked with high school kids in the recruiting process, and I mean. I think some of the best success stories I've had were these guys that, they're football guys, obviously, right? And I put together, like, a basketball film for them, right? And they go out there and they're like Ryan Robbins types, and they're like, wait a minute, this 6'7" lineman can do this on a basketball court and can move this way and that way and go up with one hand, and and that's what sells the players, the athleticism that they see off the football field. They go out on track and they're smoking.
I can't tell you how many people saw us last year in, like, the WPIAL semifinals and finals, games that were televised, and watched Ryan, his footwork and the way he can play in the post, and were saying, oh my God, Coach, like, I can't believe he can move like that. I figured he was just a big brute. Well, he is a big brute. He happens to be a big brute that has unbelievable footwork and skill, because, he loves basketball. People would tell me, oh, Sean Lee's a bruiser. Then they'd see Sean Lee play basketball, and, he was a point guard who happened to grow big. He had all kinds of skills. So,
and Sean will also be the first one to tell you, like, when I got to the league, I wasn't the athlete that a lot of these guys are. He goes, but you know what? I studied. He goes, I was way ahead of everybody in the cerebral part of the game, and he's like, when a team lined up in a certain formation, he's like, I knew it was going to be one of two things, and all I had to do was make one read at the snap, and I was gone. And he's like, so my athletic ability at that point took over, but I'm also, when you've got a step advantage, half a step or a full step on the play, well, you can become an all-pro.
And he did. Hope the general is well. Home with his daughter right now in
Going
Santa
big.
Barbara. They're going deep. McCaffrey had great coverage. Caffrey Duplessis has done a great job, the senior corner, this season. And he's had his hands full tonight because those are two very good, very fast Bethel receivers, but he had good coverage step for step there. And
they're getting good work. The secondary's getting some good work tonight. This is probably, as good a receiving core as they'll face before they hit the playoffs. Peters was good, but Peters is more, I don't think on the edge they've got the same talent that Bethel does. They're bigger up front and kind of in down the middle of the field. And they've got a nice running game. Good tackle.
Yeah, Nevin Sheegan's had a really nice night, number 34, the junior linebacker. It's just such a cerebral, such a tough kid. One of those kids that if you're just looking at size and speed, you're going to miss something, and the kid just makes a ton of plays, always in the right spot, tough as they come, great tackler. So we wind down here. So, you've seen Moon, I guess, a little bit. Like, how do you see that matchup shaping up for the Panthers?
Well, what Moon always comes at you with is they're very physical. All right, and hunted them down there.
AB, Anthony Bunn, big tackle. The junior defensive end, just great persistence there, getting him to the ground for a big loss for the Panthers.
Should have unloaded that one, but I think he was trying to make something happen.
Yeah, I mean, they're so desperate now to just try to get any sort of momentum back. Devine, he's had such a good night, but at some point you just feel like you're behind the 8 ball. You're behind. You're just trying to score 3 touchdowns on a play, and it's difficult.
Oh, there's a big one.
Yeah, there's Dennison. Oh, he broke it again. Well, I will say this, and that's going to be Gaither's going to get a 15-yard penalty for a little bit, drag him out of bounds. I will say this, you probably don't want to tackle David Dennison usually, but you certainly don't want to tackle him at this stage of the game. Big, strong guy coming downhill at you.
Personal foul. Unnecessary
kind of
roughness.
in spite of what the scoreboard's showing, he had a pretty good game tonight. I mean, he didn't. They kept him pretty contained, but he's still broken off some big ones here, and he's gotten in the end zone multiple times. And if you're looking at the stats tomorrow, you'd be like, man, how was this a 30-point game? Like, he played pretty well, and
well, there's a lot to like from the Bethel offensive side of the ball. I mean, it's not like they've had no turnovers, and they've possessed the ball. They've scored. I mean, say they score here, they're going to be in the 30s. Should be enough to win you a football game. Certainly enough to keep you in a football game. Just the defense has been problematic to say the least. That's Miller.
Yeah, so kind of getting back to Moon, Moon is a very well coached team, and year in and year out, they execute well. They're physical, man. They'll hit you, and what they did, what they did against the Hawks last week was they got to the quarterback pretty good. They'll throw a lot of different looks at you, bringing guys off the edge, bringing guys up the middle, so you really got to be sharp and kind of dialed in offensively to make sure that they thrive on that big play. Like a guy will sneak through and sack the quarterback, and that ball goes squirting, and they'll get 2 or 3 of those a game, and you don't want to be playing against that team in a close game, needing to put points on the board because they get after you and they're physical.
And they got some great athletes. Andrew Cross is big-time baseball player going to Penn State, their quarterback. And
Davion Taylor.
Yeah, Taylor, Jeter. They've got some horses. So, the Panthers, there's no rest for the weary when you're playing in this conference, except for Baldwin, obviously. But, so Panthers going to have to bring it. They're going to have to bring their hard hats next week. Dennis is going.
Panthers kind of threw the heavy lifting, though. Other than they got Moon.
First down. Tackle number 6, John Banbury. Coming first and goal from the 8 for the Blackhawks.
Hawks trying to punch one more in here before the game ends.
Drop down by number 34, the guy in the sheet is philosophies. His second goal for the Blackhawks.
So as we wind down here, come to the end of our game, whether Bethel does score here or not, Pat, what's kind of your takeaway from this, from both sides? Does this make you feel better, worse, indifferent about, certainly the Panthers first?
Well, these are playoff type teams, and this game matters every year, and you're really trying to get a gauge for how good these teams are, at this point, because again, the early season schedules don't show you a whole lot, right? And Bethel still really hasn't played anyone till tonight, right? I mean, and they still have 2 losses. So they've had the Moon game, and then they lost an early one to Mars, who was just a 4A opponent. So but teams get better as the season goes on, and this is like a statement game, right? Like, whichever team comes out and plays and kind of says, hey, we're the team to beat, it matters. And Upper St. Clair has shown that they're in a different league right now, right? And again, I think they're still a little raw with that Peters loss, because there was opportunity. It came down to a play here or there, and the Upper St. Clair let a few slip through the cracks, and they're looking ahead now. And for the Hawks, it's, I wouldn't say back to the drawing board. I think it's just I don't think they have the same depth that Upper St. Clair does, and this is, again, losing all of their starters on offense last year, some guys that, 3 guys that play in Division I, and multiple All-Staters, and it's hard to fill some of those shoes, even though you've still got some pretty good talent out there. And it's just, I like what I'm seeing from some of these guys stepping up, for sure. But it's that team they had last year was 3 years in the making, and they went 10-3 and made it to the semifinals, and and that wasn't a surprise to a lot of people, So I think it'd been, if these guys had come out and just started dominating this year, then you'd be like, wait a minute, there's something in the water in Bethel, But I think they'll, at this point, they're hoping to get in the playoffs, right? They're already behind the 8 ball with 2 conference losses. Peters is probably going to be 3, and unless something strange happens, I'm like, they're looking at being the number 4 team for 3 playoff berths. So then they got to pray for the at-large berth, and there's only, I think, 2 of them.
So that's going to be it here from Pantherland. Very impressive, as Pat stated. 57-32 victory from the Panthers over their rival Bethel Park. That is it for the home slate this season for the Panthers. So I want to say a couple thank yous. Thanks, first of all, to JRM Productions. Wonderful stuff all season on the production end. The broadcast looked super professional. And certainly thank you to the Upper St. Clair Tech guys. Mike Binkley's behind me and Paul Jaglowski. Thank you for amazing work from you guys and for your friendship as well. It's just been, I am so blessed to get the opportunity to do this, to pursue sort of a passion of mine as a hobby, and to do it with this type of professional quality of the broadcast. So I'm blessed, and thank you to Pat Orey. Pat, what a pleasure it has been having you here tonight. I am so thankful you said yes, and enjoyed it so much.
I appreciate you having me. This has been fun coming back. You know, again, like having been gone from the area for so long and just moved back, and being able to come back and do this, and kind of see Upper St. Clair keeping up the tradition, and it's being able to talk about this next generation of players as well as kind of our old guys, man. It's a lot of fun, and hopefully you'll have me back next year.
I would be happy to. It is an open invitation. The problem I have is most guys don't want to come back, or it's been hard to get the older guys, the guys from our generation, to get here. I think they think it's a good idea in theory, and then when I try to nail them down, they're not as excited to be here. But
something comes up on that Friday.
But I love it, and I know the people out there love it. So congratulations to the Panthers. Big win tonight. I hope they celebrate, and if this is it for us this season, it has been an absolute blast. For Pat Orey, I'm Gavin Williams signing off. Good luck to the Panthers next week against Moon and in the playoffs. Good night.